Right, I think we're now live.
Oh, we're live right now. Excellent. Hello, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us. Whoever's joining us right now or later. I'm completely not as prepared as I usually am, but I was hoping to play off of what you've got
that's
for
lucky because
us.
I'm quite prepared this time.
Excellent.
There has been some really annoying stuff happening.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
I'm just astounded at the level of childishness I see every day in the media of all places.
Hmm.
It's really pissing me off that any of this is an issue. But the thing is, this has turned into like an important social issue, hasn't it? All this just rape culture bullshit. Oh my god. I'm sick of hearing it. I
It's everywhere, isn't it? It's everywhere.
sorry, say again.
It's everywhere, it's just everywhere. You can't escape it.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly the problem I'm having. It's just absolutely everywhere you go. Um, I found a really annoying article by Jessica Valenti in the Guardian. Did you see that?
Which one was it?
The
All of her articles are annoying.
oh yes, good point. I should specify. Punching Gloria Steinem inside the bizarre world of anti-feminist women.
Oh, I've got that page saved somewhere. I'm going to look that up. I've got that in my bookmarks. I remember seeing that, but
Yeah,
I've not actually read through it. Let me have a quick. I punching Gloria Steinem. Here we are, punching Gloria Steinem.
I did exactly the same thing. I've read like the first paragraph and been like, right, there's so much in there. I'll read it. I can read through it now.
But she does write one load of shit. It's the same. I mean, she gets paid for writing this stuff. It's like it's embarrassing. It's
It is.
embarrassing for the newspaper that puts it forward.
It's a joke. I mean, I'll read the first couple of paragraphs. Every so often, one woman engages with me on Twitter who is against women's suffrage. To be anti-feminist in her mind is to be against women's suffrage, and it's just like that's so insane. That is just so not anyone's point of view. You know? like, I can't imagine
So
meeting.
far, so far from reality.
Yeah, that's absurd. And then she goes on, that's right. She believes women shouldn't have the right to vote. And it's like, bollocks. Just bollocks. And then she goes on to characterize them as
Oh, this is the one I did. I remember this. There's a bit there. She says, "This from the same woman who has written that women shouldn't be astronauts." Now, I clicked on this story, and at no point at all does she say women shouldn't be astronauts, but yet she's put that in there as if it was said, and it totally wasn't said.
what's the point of the article?
It's one, two, three, four, five paragraphs in. It's in blue. You can click on it. Women shouldn't be. This is she's saying. Uh, Charlotte Hayes has said this, but when you go to the article, she totally doesn't say it at all. She's talking about the charge of attempted murder lodged against an astronaut called Lisa. So it's nothing to do
What?
with exactly. She's at no point is she saying women shouldn't be astronauts. At no point.
It's the charge of attempted murder lodged against Captain Lisa Nowak is not just a tragedy for the astronaut and the family. It strikes the cherished image of astronauts as superior individuals who can cope with the stresses that might crumple the rest of us. That's not anti-woman. That's just not anti-woman. She's actually taking the woman as a representative of astronauts. As if women can be astronauts, and when one astronaut does something like this, it throws all astronauts into doubt. Jesus Christ!
But it's the way they do that. They get these wee things. They'll say, "Oh, she said they shouldn't be astronauts." She didn't say that, right? She interpreted the entire article like that, and then just said it. And we know that rape culture on college campuses, and is inflated numbers and hysteria. Now she's probably exaggerating there as well. If she's lied about this, I mean, it's every little wee detail. They do this all the time. They interpret a story to mean something. It totally doesn't mean that, but it'll be used later. And you'll see this with Hobby Lobby. In
Yeah,
another 2 months, they'll
absolutely.
mention Hobby Lobby and say, and look the way they treated women, but they won't go into the details. It happens all the time.
It really does my head in the mischaracterization of everyone's position.
Mm-hmm.
Like that video I did on the Young Turks the other day. It's just like, well, that's just not what they're talking about. You know,
Are you finally coming round to their bullshit?
very definitely in gender issues. Very definitely.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one today about some girl who she was accusing a boyfriend or some guy of rape, and it had gone viral because. And the only reason I know this is Monday Matt did a video on it. But basically, he'd looked into it deeper than the Young Turks and found that this girl had basically driven over to this guy's house with like a friend of hers. They'd all had like an orgy affair. Someone had filmed it and filmed her in very, compromising positions, obviously really enjoying herself and in no way taking advantage of it. In fact, she probably instigated or something like that. And so it's one of those, and now she's crying rape because she's going to look bad. And it's like, okay, well that's terrible, for the people. But then the Young Turks go, you think, okay, fine, there's video evidence. The thing is, the Young Turks have already started the slander campaign by saying, oh, this girl was raped, and now it's all over Twitter, and people are making videos laughing at her, and everyone's taking the piss, as if they're taking the piss because they think she was raped, And it's like, mate, shut up. They think she's a liar. That's why they're doing it.
Exactly.
Because they've got video proof of her lying. It proves she's lying.
It just goes to show you as well, when a woman says she's raped, we've just taken for granted that must have happened. Like it couldn't have been any other thing that happened. It must have been that. Unreal.
It really, really does my sweet.
Well, what about the Rolf Harris shit on the last couple of weeks with Vanessa Feltz?
Oh, hang on.
That's shite, man.
Can you hear me all right?
Okay, it's a wee bit echoey, but a wee tiny bit echoey. But I thought that was my headphones. I got a new headset thing, and that's the first time I've used them. Yeah, hang on a second. Oh, sorry, everyone. That's much better. That sounded much, much clearer.
Did it? Oh, shit.
Yes.
I'm just ruining my USB devices.
That sounds much better.
Sorry.
Try turning your volume up a lot. Okay, I sound okay then.
Right.
Don't know if Sargon can still hear me.
How's this one? Is that one alright?
I can hear some noise. I can hear some noise in the background. I can hear you talking now and again.
Because they think she was great. Everything's not fancy. Right, so this is no good, no?
That's okay.
That's okay, is it?
Well, now it's echoing again.
Oh, damn it. There's no winning.
I've no idea what the problem could be. I'm not an expert in that kind of thing.
Okay, shut up.
Oh, thanks.
Right, okay,
Pants of Vance says I sound sexy. Thanks very much, Pants of Vance. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's on now and again. Now and again it's on. I'll blabber away about Vanessa Feltz right now. Vanessa Feltz, if you don't know who she is, she was a Z-list celebrity, and she fell off the the Z-list celebrity bandwagon. So she wanted to get back on it. So she claimed Rolf Harris, who was put in jail a couple of weeks ago for 5 years for touching young girls and stuff. She claimed that he touched her on a live TV interview. She didn't go to the police, of course, because, I don't know why. But the police got in touch with her, and then her evidence was used in the trial to convict Rolf Harris. So we've to believe that Rolf Harris, on a live TV interview, touched up Vanessa Feltz. I just find that very, very difficult to believe. I don't know if anyone else does, but it's incredibly difficult to believe he's that perverted, you know what I'm saying? But I believe this guy was put away on nothing but words. There was no actual evidence, you know? So, I don't know, it's one of those things. She's either lying about it, which makes her a cunt, or she's a cunt because she didn't immediately report it to the police. I mean, if a man sexually molests you live on TV, well, you've got the evidence right there. Go to the police immediately and, you know, put a halt to that. No, she carried on, you know, on breakfast TV. It's very, very hard to believe. It just seems like she wants to get back on the Z list, and this is her way to do it. But it sounds to me like we've lost Sargon. Now, I don't know if he can hear me. I don't know. I don't know if any bugger can hear me right now, actually, to be honest. But the wee green bar's going up and down on the... Aye, okay, Sargon's mic's off, so maybe he's trying to sort his mic out right now. But let's go through some of the stories that people have posted. Coming soon to Walmart, a new way to find products from women entrepreneurs. That's right, this is in Bloomberg Business Week, and it's what Walmart are going to do is they're going to put stickers that say women owned. I'm not making this up, on products that are made by companies run by women, you know. So if you're a bigot, right, and you want to make sure your money goes to good people, just make sure you get, you know, spend it on a product, whether that product is of any quality at all. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. What matters is your money goes to women, you know, the good people. And I can't help but compare this to, you know, say you want your money to go to good white folks. Wouldn't it be nice to have a sticker on products that said, hey, the company that makes this is a white-owned company? You know, how can they not see how fucking crap this is? But the good thing about it is most of the comments I've seen about this from women are basically saying it's terrible, it's a load of shit, and it's making us all look bad. So I'm glad about that, because it's about time women started to get pissed off with this bullshit. Unbelievable, man. Women owned. But I suppose in a way it shows you as well what products to avoid buying, because I wouldn't buy something that said women owned. No thanks. I'd rather have something that was quality. No offence, ladies. A wee story here that was posted on Facebook earlier. This is from the Times of India. High-level women Yahoo executive sued for sexual harassment. Maria Zhang, a senior director of engineering at Yahoo Mobile, has been sued by Nanshi, who worked as a principal software engineer. She claims that she was asked to have oral and digital sex with her on multiple occasions and told she would have a bright future if she had sex with her. She completely denies the charges, but I think it's a good topic of discussion. If you ran a business and it was a completely business where any sex can work, like a shop, say you own a big shop, right? Any sex can work in a shop, right? Do you women get that? Man, I would rather all the staff were happy, without feeling they had to walk on eggshells every 2 minutes, you know. That's just even a woman, you know, is getting it from their female employees. She sacked her apparently, and now it's sexual harassment. You know, it's just
It sounds pretty pathetic to me. Because it's working now.
I'm much better. Yes.
Brilliant.
But it's pathetic. But I mean, really, seriously, Sargon, would you employ a woman if you owned a shop that could, you know?
I would have reservations. I'm not going to lie. You know.
Mm-hmm. Old women, maybe old women.
Yeah, it wouldn't be young women I'd hire. I don't think it probably would be older women who I could trust to, you know, be a lot more just level-headed and sensible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would definitely be worried about this sort of thing. I mean,
why?
You know, this is all. I find all of this really hysterical. Just, you know, this is all feelings based. Nothing's really happened.
No.
The whole
What do you
culture,
think?
and not with this just individual thing. Just the whole culture is just like I find it all very unnecessary.
What do you think of the women-owned business?
I actually missed most of that because I was
No,
focusing on trying to fix this.
It's simple to sum up. Walmart are putting stickers on products that say "women-owned" if the product is made by a company run by a woman. Seriously, it's ridiculous.
That's weird. That's like some sort of apartheid in the shop.
Exactly.
I mean, it might sort of end up doing the reverse of what Made in Germany did. Made in Germany made the German stuff sell better because everyone knew it was made in Germany. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It might do the opposite. I don't think I'd buy something by someone owned on it just because I'd feel like I was supporting the system.
I wouldn't care who made the product as long as the product
Well,
was
no.
good. It could be made by a Nigerian midget for all I care. I don't care.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I totally agree. I don't understand why do it, but now they've done it, I'm thinking, well, I might just like go with like a because one that's not specifically woman owned doesn't mean it's not owned by women. There may well be female owners to the company and stuff like that. I'd expect them to be fairly, gender mixed.
It's two big companies who agree. What is it? It's a Women's Business Enterprise National Council along with WE Connect. They certify businesses earmarked for women-owned businesses, and if they give the stamp of approval, that means it counts as women-owned. It's just as bigoted as you can get, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what are we gonna have black-owned next? Are we gonna have gay-owned? I mean.
Mm-hmm. It's really getting to ridiculous levels, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's absurd. Do you want me to do one now that I've got everything working up?
Oh, aye, go for it, aye.
Right, what was that? I've got it's most of them that piss me off are the ones in the papers where they're just so bigoted. I mean, there's one here by Yvette Cooper. We must educate our sons to save our daughters. As if there's a holocaust of young girls going on. I mean,
it's like, but what gets me is, it's like, surely a better message would be, if you're going to teach your sons anything, it would be just to be decent to everybody.
Yeah,
Why this special treatment for women all the time? It's pathetic, man.
That's yeah, exactly, and it's so melodramatic as well, I mean, it starts off with whore, bitch, slag, slut. These are insults which one teacher says she hears leveled at teenage girls on a daily basis. Yes, and they all say it to each other all the time. They're just insults.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the end of the world. They're not going to kill anyone. Well, no, I say that. They shouldn't kill anyone. That they kill people is stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong, a sustained campaign of bullying, I can completely see why it would. But that's not what they're talking about, is it? They're just talking about bitching in the classroom.
But they do act like women, or rather girls, don't bully other girls.
Yeah.
When it's obvious that they do.
I met loads of, I remember in school, there were loads of teenage girls who had really strong personalities, and they would have, slanging matches across, the courtyard and stuff. And it's just like, Jesus.
Well,
we'd be there playing table tennis,
Well, there's a simple way to look at it, right? What would you rather be? A victim of bullying as a boy from boys, or a victim of bullying as a girl from girls? Because I would rather be the boy.
Yeah, definitely the boy. I mean, Jesus. At least you'd have people to hang out with afterwards. Yeah, I mean, at least that's the thing. The girl one is ostracism, isn't it? So you don't even have any friends to sit with afterwards.
Nasty rumours, nasty rumours getting spread
exactly.
about you as well,
really horrible, spiteful stuff.
Mm-hmm. They have no mercy.
Yeah, I think I'd rather just get a punch in the face.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Just a quick, simple, ow, yeah, it hurts, all right. At worst I'll go have a pub or something. It's not the same.
Surely all milk Counts as women-owned and all eggs, says Dr. Randomercam. I wonder if I said his name right. Randomercam, that's how I pronounced that. Aye, that's true. I mean, why should they not? I mean, they come from females, so there you go. Aye.
No, that's true. That's true. But yeah, this article just goes on to just talk entirely about young girls, and as if young boys are just this homogenous group that victimizes them, that like hides in the bushes waiting for groups of girls to go past to sort of beat them up or shout names at them or something. It's just like as if it's not individuals having conflict with individuals, you know. Just does my Swede. Honestly, does my Swede.
I don't see why people don't call them on a bigotry. What gets me about politics, right? It's still, in my entire lifetime, there's still not been one politician worthy of my vote apart from Margaret Thatcher, but I was too young to vote. Now, when you look at Yvette Cooper, right? She comes out and she says this: it could not be clearer bigotry. It is pure bigoted, and yet from the other side, who's challenging this?
Yeah.
Nobody is challenging this clear bigotry. So this is why it goes on. It's annoying. In fact, they come out with this almost the same bigotry, the other side.
Yeah, they virtually do. I mean, there's this just unwritten rule that women are always to have the sympathy. You know, like that Matt Binder twat. I was watching Bane's latest Toxic Feminism one, number 7, and just he just pisses me off so much that. I mean, he's just saying, yeah, men have got all these problems. Admittedly, all the facts are as all the facts are, but women just have it worse. And it's like, well, even if they do, you know, everyone else talks about women all the time, and you are advocating to tell these guys to shut up about their problems. That's really unhelpful to everyone.
Always the case, though. It's always the case if you're talking about an issue like domestic violence, and it's all about women, and you happen to mention, well, hang on, if 40% of victims are male, what about them? They don't say, oh, aye, that's quite a high number, and that's a good point. No, what they say is, oh, you're just a whiner. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what they
say.
say.
All women do is whine. They never stop whining, but yet when men say something, it's, oh, you're just always whining. Men can't speak about their problems. Because it's always called whining.
Women have got the monopoly on whining, so you can't. You're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed. Should we have a look at some questions?
Aye, go for it. Aye.
Yeah. Okay. Well, did you watch that debate with Matt Binder and Paul Elam?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I watched about 2/3 of it.
I watched it all on the night it was uploaded. They done it live, and I've seen Paul Elam debate people before, but I was really surprised that he agreed to a debate with a chimp, because this guy he's a child, he's obnoxious, he's rude, very disrespectful. The things he was saying. Now, I'm not the biggest Paul Elam fan. I'm sure people have clicked onto that, right?
Honestly, I don't really like him a whole lot. I found him a bit like, just a bit. Not just. I just really wouldn't. I'd rather not watch him than watch him. You know.
Well, I do respect what he's trying to do. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I do respect that, because he does put a lot of effort and work in. You know, a lot of time. You know, so I respect that. But
yeah, no, there is that.
It wasn't really a debate. This little prick, right? He was saying things like, "Oh, I like the way you're reading your responses," and it's like, well, the reason he's reading these responses is because he wants to be factually accurate. You fucking little numpty. He doesn't want to. All these numbers and names are very difficult to remember, you know, and to bring up in a 4-minute, you know, time slot.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, there is that is a perfectly valid point, but I actually disliked that a bit more, because they weren't necessarily the facts that he was reading. He was reading rhetoric that he'd prepared in advance that he knew would fit into the 4-minute slot. So he was, and this is the thing. I don't think they should have had such a structured debate at all.
No, it shouldn't have been.
You know, then you know, it's not like either one's going to going to change each other's mind or anything like that in this sort of format, even if at all. But I don't think it'd be impossible to explain to Binder where he's going wrong, you know.
He sits there and he's clearly got people behind the camera laughing at everything he's saying, and these people are as dumb as shit and they believe all this. Now, He sat there. He sat there and he said, "Oh, 1 in 4 women this, 1 in 4 women that." How odd women earn less than? How many fucking times do these people need to be told that that's all bullshit and shown that it's all bullshit, and they still say it? So people like him can't be told. He's,
Well,
they
I
can't be
agree.
told.
I agree. But this is what I mean. Like, what Elam, what I would have done if I was Elam in that position, I would have had a more free-form debate. So when he said, oh well, what about the pay gap? I would have latched onto that. I would have been like, brilliant, right? I'm glad you brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
I've got these statistics here. I can send you them. I'll read them out. It's literally down to women's choices. What do you have to say to that? You could have really nailed him on it.
But this is the thing. This is the thing with these people right now. He had 4 minutes each, right? Now, a lot of time, this is why I make videos about the wage gap, because when any stupid idiot brings it up, I just send them to the video, because I'm tired of taking the time out to explain something that they already know. I know they know. I know they know this. So say, for example, like you say, Paul Elam challenged him on this, then that's eating up, 2 minutes, he's 4 minutes slot, talking stuff that he already knows is bullshit, but he's only using it to try and, so what's the point in wasting time on that?
That's why I'd rather not do it in a sort of regulated way like that. That's exactly why.
It's not a real good debate, and also you could say as well, Dean Esme as the referee could seem a bit biased, but he wasn't biased. I'm just saying people could easily say that, you know what I mean? But no, it should just be. It should be, as Chaswold said it with that Man Academy or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. Do a hangout. Then there's no editing. Then there's no bullshit. You each have your say, and just do a live hangout. Why can't they do that?
And you can both just like almost interrogate each other over the issues and just literally say, look, I'd like to know your opinion on this, and then they give it, and then right, okay, and just explore each other's opinion, because that will expose the one that's correct. And both do it back and forward. That'd be fine. I'd be happy to see that. But I just want to point out that I don't have any actual dislike of Elam, but I just don't particularly like him.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that I don't respect what he does. I've got a lot of respect for what he does. But then, I've got a lot of respect for any feminist that goes to sort of Saudi Arabia. Not that I'm trying to make a comparison between men in Britain and Saudi Arabia, but you know what I mean. Anyone who, sorry.
I can see what you mean. I mean, I remember a while ago I made a video about a woman. She was in Saudi Arabia, and she's trying to fight the people to get women the right to drive. She even opened up her own driving school to teach women how to drive. Now, this is a real feminist. She's fighting a real injustice. Whereas over here, your legs are too far up, therefore, Turkey. I mean, it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is an actual legitimate thing to need to change. I'm on fully in favour of changing. I mean, it's not even against the law, is it? It's just a really sort of frowned upon social taboo, if I recall correctly. I might be wrong there, though.
Questions I can't see now.
Sir Garwin asks, with the Hobby Lobby decision, do you think the feminists have been capped off or temporarily put on hold?
I said that they got everything they could possibly want. They still complain about feminists. And they won't be hold a lot of power. I mean, just if you watched Cars on during the recent rights gathering, he explained that they're very good at making women do it. So they've not lost their power. They had to be told or it's 20. It's just not.
I hate to say this, mate, but I missed all of that because my connection's shit. Honestly, it was coming through like some sort of 80s synthesizer or something. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my computer today.
So I don't know if it's. I mean, it could be as a second. The
Right, hopefully I'm back. Shit, I'm sorry about this, everyone. My equipment sucks. Everything that I own sucks. Right, I think I'm still here. I'm just re-invited. Oh, it's Goodfella, is it? Okay, well, I thought it was me. All right, let me know if anyone's still here, or if anyone can still hear me, because I have no idea what's going on now, and I'll go through something else that pissed me off, or I'll answer a question or something. Right, okay, cool. Right, I've sent him an invite, so hopefully he'll be back with us shortly. Sorry about this. Right. With the Hobby Lobby decision, it's interesting that they've finally been told no. I wasn't really that surprised. I mean, they've already got 16 methods of contraceptive, and they can still carry on purchasing it normally. So, it's not. I don't really see what the problem is, and I'm not really surprised that the courts ruled in favor of the corporation. So, but I think they'll probably do a Bill Burr Psycho Robot and just direct that sort of gnashing, just in another direction to another subject. It'll be something else, like with the fucking legal system in New Zealand. It'll just be Goodfella, are you back?
Am I back on?
Aha, you are.
He just said I lost connection there. Maybe it was at mine. Don't know. Sorry about that. If blame Virgin broadband. Cry. Were you on there as well?
Yeah, mine is BT. It's not all that impressive, is it? Oh shit, man! It's still coming through badly for me. On yours. You're not downloading anything, are you?
Nope, not at all. All on this. I download that. People open. I don't know what I'm talking about. Instead, live and the big green bar next to my just I'm guessing somewhere in here. Somewhere can hear me.
Guys in the chat, are you getting this? Because I'm not getting this, to be honest. Damn it. No, it's coming through really bad. Yeah, still robotic. Yeah, that's how it sounds. Sorry. Do you want to restart or something? Reboot, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
I have no idea. That was alright. Answer Vance must be the women's shift running the internet in Scotland.
I've not got content. Unless it's a new one. It's a new thing.
Maybe it's your microphone, because you said it was a new microphone, isn't it?
It's a new headset and microphone.
Oh, right.
I usually use a microphone headset.
Oh, sorry, I didn't make that out.
Must be this fucking one.
Yeah, can you change it?
Yes. That's right, I'll change it. I hope I don't have to phone him.
Sorry, I missed that again, mate. Sorry. Yeah, Scottish R2D2. Right, well, while Goodfella fixes the issue he's got now, I want to keep going through this. We must educate our sons, save our daughters thing. 'Cause this just it's just so biased. They She described girls being heckled if they dared to speak in class, or their shirts forcibly undone, their skirts lifted, and held by groups of boys. It's like, where? We have rules against that kind of thing. You know, why don't you enforce those rules? But she goes on to say it'd be easy, and let's be honest, more comfortable, to dismiss it as a one-off, or the inevitable temporary rite of teenage passage, and I don't think it happens to every woman. Or at least it didn't when I was at school. It wasn't brilliant, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like that. But we all she goes on to say, we all remember the hormonal mix of overexcited boys, irritated girls, and clumsy flirting gets a bit out of hand. That is kind of what she's saying, and that's pretty true. But apparently it's more than that, and it's certainly not temporary, and the evidence shows it's getting worse, which is absolute nonsense. Across the country, there are now growing voices of anger about violence against women, and it's like, yes, there are, but violence against women is it's literally violence in general is at an all-time low since the rise of video games. Basically means young people aren't getting out in the streets and fighting each other and doing whatever they do. They're doing it vicariously at home in a simulated environment. But this is the thing, you know, the better things get, the more they complain, and it's just like, what are you guys complaining about? You know, you're complaining about the much fewer incidents. I don't know. It does my head in. Really does my head in. No idea what's going on with Goodfella. Right, what are the questions we got? Stefan Molyneux has given single mothers a pretty good kicking in his past work. It's undeniable that the offspring of single mothers are far worse when it comes to life choices and consequences thereof, prison population, drug use, etc. However, I think it's important to remember that not all single mothers choose to be single mothers. I very much doubt many women saw the "I need a man like a fish needs a bicycle" meme and kicked their man out on the back because of that. So what do you think can be done about this? How should single mothers do best for their kids? What can the offspring of single mothers do to ensure they forge a good life for themselves? Should the state step in and act as a daddy? Well, I'm just going to invite Goodfella and ponder my answer, because I'm not sure. It's probably a question with no right answer, so it's just going to be, what's the least bad answer? I don't see the marriage rates increasing anytime soon. So I guess it's going to have to be more socially acceptable for women to come with kids. If guys want to keep dating women and forming relationships, like, you know, long-term relationships with women, it's going to just have to become much more socially acceptable, because what are you going to do? Otherwise, you know, what options are there? I don't think the number of single mothers is going down. So, I mean, I just don't see where it can really go. I mean, Nicholas saying shared parenting, but I mean, I suppose, but is that? I mean, what kind of? It's really going to produce kids who don't really have, you know, tight familial ties. I think it's going to produce children that are fairly like laissez-faire about family bonds. I mean, maybe it'll produce excessively clingy children. Hello.
Can I be heard now?
You can.
Let me see.
I can hear you pretty well.
I probably can be heard, but like a fucking imbecile, I've not got my headphones on, so I can't hear jack squat until I do. Right. My headphones are now on, and
right. Yeah, I can. Hear you.
I can hear you now. I can hear you. That's good.
Oh my goodness, we're such an amateur act.
I know, man. What the hell, man? That sound much better.
You do. I can hear you perfectly.
What a waste of fucking money that headset was then. Christ, that was the only reason I got it.
How much was it?
I was on a sale anyway. I think they were about 30 quid. 30 quid, something like that. Plantronics. Pish.
I tell you, that's the one I've got actually. It's not amazing. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's not amazing.
No.
But
No, back to the mic I use for my videos. Now I just need to get into the actual. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself here. Sorry.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I don't know. You didn't just hear the question I read out, did you?
Sorry, no, that's me just back. No, I didn't hear that. What was the question?
That's all right. Basically, Mr. Sonic Advance was asking what we thought of Stefan Molyneux going after single mothers so heavily. What we think, just for us to kick around what we think can be done about single mothers. And my position was, it's going to have to be more socially acceptable to date single mothers, because I think there's just going to be more and more of them. And it's, if men want to engage in relationships with women, they're going to have to get used to it, aren't they?
I don't know. I would avoid them at all cost. I would never get with a single mother, ever.
Yeah. But
just would not do it. Too much hassle.
There are going to be a lot of young guys who want to, though, aren't there?
No, not if they know the facts. But I do like that Stefan Molyneux openly attacks single mothers, but mothers in general as well, because they are the ones that always take the credit when things go well. So they also have to take the blame when things go badly, because that's the way it seems to work. Yeah. If it goes well, it's because they were raised by a good mother. But when it goes bad, it's either because the father wasn't there, or, you know what I mean? It's always the dad's fault. So it's good to see them get attacked.
I'm absolutely with you. I mean, I just want to say there are obviously going to be cases where the father's left the mother, and therefore it is the father's fault that the child grows up without a second parent in his life, and they probably will end up with, statistically it probably does show that Stefan Molyneux is correct, that it's damaging to the child. So I'm more than willing to believe that. So I just think blame where it's due, really. If the mother's the reason that she left the father and strung him through the courts, and now he's impoverished, and the child's got one parent who can't really control them, and oh my God, why did you do that? Then it's her fault. If the dad did it, it's his fault. But either way, why have a child if you're not certain that this is the person you want to be with? Why have the child?
Well, it's happened on Facebook the other day, and somebody was mentioning that, basically fathers need to be given equal rights in court, right? It's a simple idea, And then this woman pops in and she says, oh, that's all well and good, but when I tried to get the father of my kids to watch them, he's not interested. And it's like, but the laws aren't made because of who you choose to have children with. Because you choose to have children with a fucking lazy buffoon doesn't mean that good fathers should be told, no, you can't see your kids, except for 2 days every fucking 2 weeks.
No, absolutely. It's again the eternal avoidance of responsibility for their actions, isn't it?
I always throw it in their face whenever they complain about the father of their children. Oh, he's not there, or some other shit. I always say, especially if they've got more than one child to them, I always say, so you chose to have children with this man who you are now calling a deadbeat loser? Why did you choose to have kids with this man? It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Because there is no way you turn into a deadbeat lazy cunt overnight. That doesn't happen. No way. You know when somebody's like that. So don't have kids with them.
No one can put on an act for that long. Absolutely not.
No, some things will show through that give it away. The same goes for men who go with women who are bad apples. There's some signs there to steer clear.
Yeah. It's just emotionally damaged people. They stand out. They've obviously got something wrong with them.
I don't like unjustified arrogance, and I think a lot of mothers, whether they're single mothers or not, have that unjustified arrogance that they just know what's best, not just for their own children, but for everybody. Because they're mothers. It's just dead annoying, man.
I in the local area I'm on. There's a group on Facebook called a Shout Out. So it's Shout Out Swindon, because I live in Swindon. And honestly, the fucking proles, man. They are just the thickest people on earth. They are just so fucking stupid. I mean, it's just like there's this one woman complaining that someone else got, I don't know, someone with like 6 kids got $2,000 in benefits, and she was like, oh, that's like more than a 40-hour-a-week job, and it's like, is it? What job is that? You know? And then she was like, oh, they should be sterilized, and it's like, Jesus, you know, do you want to do the sterilizing? So you want to be communist and fascist, you know? It's a totalitarian. They have no idea what they're asking for.
But it would be good if there was, you know, I know it would be not a good case for freedom, but it would be good if you had to just a basic, do you have a common sense test to otherwise you're not allowed to be a parent. You know, if you can't have basic common sense, then you're not allowed to be a parent. That would be great, but it would never happen, you know, and it's too infringing on people's rights. So, but then if people can afford it, if you can afford to have 6, 7 children, that's fine. But I think people get annoyed at the fact that these women who cannot afford it keep on having children, and that's what's quite annoying. You don't want to leave the children starving or put single mothers out of their homes, but at the same time, they have to be told, look, if it was me, I would say for benefits, you only get benefits for, say, the first child. You know, because if you can't afford that, you shouldn't be having any fucking more. So if you have 6, you're only getting benefits. You're not getting benefits for them. But then that would be too cruel, because then you'd be letting the children starve. So what the hell are you supposed to do?
That's exactly the problem. You can't teach people not to be thick as shit, especially when you provide them a really secure safety net. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. You're in a catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, I suppose the only thing realistically you can do without resorting to forced sterilization is begin educating the children on how not to be stupid. But that, you know, like you said, that would require probably some sort of common sense class and probably infringe on their right to be an idiot. So,
well, rather than teach boys not to rape, how about we teach kids not to be stupid?
That's basically what my dad did to me. You know, whenever I did something stupid, he'd be like, you know, you just did something stupid, don't you? And I was, or just, you know, just don't do something stupid. And then I would be left to figure out what it was that I did that was so goddamn stupid. And, you know, that was, I think that most kids who are raised like that turn out to be reasonable adults.
If you're held to account, I think you'll turn out to be quite reasonable.
Exactly. As long as someone else isn't making excuses for you.
What a prole is. I think.
Oh, a plebeian, a peasant, a peon. There are loads of words for the underclass of society. And I'm going to be racist.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to ask you something, Sargon. Did you subscribe to Claudia Bowling for positive reasons?
Yes, both. Positive and negative.
Just to keep your eye on her type of thing.
I'm subscribed to Captain Andy as well. I do like watching Captain Andy's videos. He looks like he looks like he has a fetid smell following him everywhere. Something about him, he just doesn't look. I don't think I'd want to stand in a room with him. You know, he looks like he has poor personal hygiene, and that's coming from someone who basically lives in a dump. So. But yeah, I subscribed to Claudia Berlin because she amuses me greatly.
Interesting. Did you see that video I made about
her? Which one was that, sorry?
The one Claudia Bowling speaks on behalf of all feminists.
Oh, yeah, I did.
So you know she's a feminist then, yes, okay.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I was just curious, you know what I mean? I was, because sometimes I would follow someone.
It's all right.
Not stalky, but sometimes I'll subscribe to somebody just to keep my eye on them, you know, like I've done with God, what's her fucking name? Hitler Barbara. I can't remember her real name now. That's annoying. I don't follow her anymore, but I did just to see what she was up to, you know. And I thought that's what you were doing. I was just curious, you know.
Yeah, no. I actually do the same because it's there are lots of like corners of the internet that we kind of reside on that I want to make sure I'm aware of them all at least, you know. So I often see what like other people have been doing just so I can be aware of what's likely to come up in conversation or something like that at some point down the line. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of Claudia Berlin's videos, and I find them very interesting. She's so incredibly privileged. You know? She has just got, you know, the most upper middle class life in the world. So I find it kind of fascinating to talk, for her to talk about oppression.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very interested in her Game of Thrones breakdowns. You don't watch Game of Thrones, do you?
No, I don't watch that. No.
No. There was this one character that was introduced he was bisexual, but he wasn't like camp. This guy called Prince Oberon or something. He wasn't camp. He was like a great warrior. He was a really nimble, dexterous warrior and stuff like that. But he was bisexual. He was just greedy.
Mm-hmm.
He just shag everything. Very masculine, very alpha male, in fact. And she's kind of adopted him as this kind of gay or bisexual icon because she's this guy's so great because he played a bisexual guy. I mean, he was a great character. I really liked him, but the fact that he was bisexual was such a small part of his character. No, actually, that's not true. That's not fair. But like, it was the complete opposite of feminism. He was so incredibly capable. He was so incredibly confident in his own abilities, and he was magnificent at everything he did, and he just wanted to fuck everything. And it's the complete opposite of the feminist mindset that everything's terrifying and they're absolutely useless. So I just found it really bizarre that she would empathize or relate to this guy, and it's the literal opposite. But the thing is, she's quite a confident person, so I don't think she's actually the typical feminist. I've been doing a kind of psychological analysis of her. Now I sound like a weird stalker.
She's just like the rest of the pawns out there, She makes the video explaining to everybody what feminism means because we all don't understand it because we're all idiots. It's just how many of these women, all of similar age to Claudia, make these videos explaining what feminism is. Like we're all lost and we don't get it, And it's nice. Don't get me wrong. Her version is very nice and it's all sweet and it's perfect. It's a great version, but it's like she doesn't understand that that's not the reality. That's just the fantasy, and she gets them mixed up, I think.
Well, that's the thing. She's, despite being like a little Hermione Granger, I think she does do it from a position of well-meaning. She did a video called "Cis Folk Listen Up," and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be good. That's why I saw it on my newsfeed or something, and I thought, right, this is going to be good. And it's actually her attacking like the feminists who support trans people, when she refers to the cis people, because there was some sort of big trans rally or something. And apparently a bunch of them had their feelings hurt and they'd been abused by the cis people in support of that trans rally. And she was lecturing, these people. And so, not a group that we're part of, sort of thing. And, she was lecturing them in the same way that she had lectured, sort of white men. And it was really bizarre. It was just like, can't you see how you're turning in on yourselves now? Now that no one else is listening, you're just going to the only people who are going to continue listening to you. And as if it didn't work before, it's not going to work now, is it?
One thing she's good at, though, Claudia, is giving the impression that she's sweet and innocent. She's really good at that. A lot of women are good at that, and she's good at that. She gives the impression that she's sweet and innocent.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is quite clever. That's the thing. She is quite a clever person.
I just have difficulty putting "I'm a feminist" with clever.
I know I
just have difficulty putting those two together.
It's because they got her young, I think. She was brainwashed at an early age, I think. But yeah, she's just very, very interesting character, I find. I don't hate her, whereas there are a lot of them that I do absolutely.
I would gladly have a conversation with her. But there's a lot of them where I wouldn't want to have a conversation with. But I'd gladly talk to her because I actually think she could be up for talking.
That's exactly what I was thinking. She seems self-confident enough to be able to laugh off criticism, which is an incredibly strange thing for a feminist. Which is why I've subscribed to a channel, because I want to see if like an adult feminist is possible. Because she actually takes a lot of the criticism leveled at her in good humor, which is why she's got ratings and comments on.
You should send her an invite to this hangout.
I'm genuinely tempted to send her a message and see if
she would jump on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't, but because she'd probably look at our videos and be like, well, Christ, they're just going to attack me.
I'm pretty sure she's seen mine, though. I'm pretty certain she's seen mine, because our cohorts came along to have their say. She's seen my video, and it got quite a lot of thumbs down when I put it up, so I'm pretty certain she's seen that, yes.
Because
I don't mind, though. I don't mind.
No, I know, that's the thing, because in a way, I think she's very similar to us. You know, I think that her audience is very supportive of her videos, like our audience is very supportive of ours, you know? And that's something I really appreciate, you know. It's nice to know that there are people who think like me. But there are probably also feminists who think like her. They're like, you know, oh, God, thank God, some mature sort of... I mean, she subscribes to all the feminist bullshit, but she's not like, you know, she's not screaming in people's faces, shut the fuck up. You know, she's not like refusing all criticism. So I think there are probably a lot of feminists who would like to go that way. And at the end of the day, I don't think we're ever going to like break feminism. You know, we're never going to rout them and wipe them out. So I think ultimately they're going to have to be bargained with. You know?
Well, there's a lot of women out there who were feminists, but then after, you know, they've listened to people, then they're now anti-feminist. Maybe she could be one of them one day if she listens.
Well,
but who knows?
That's what I was thinking. You know, that's what I was thinking.
As she crossed me off my Christmas card list, says Danny Boy. I think she has.
Yeah, I can't imagine I'm on a Christmas card list. But yeah, are there any? What other questions are there? Before I just carry on ranting. I
remember I seen somebody asking if I like the Internet Aristocrat. I do. I think he's very, very funny. He's very funny. He's got one of those voices as well where it's perfect for sarcasm. You know.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. I like his videos.
Yeah, he almost sounds like a newsreader or something, doesn't he? I always find it strange when he swears because he sounds quite respectable. I can't find a question I actually like have an answer to.
I don't have the questions up, but I might look for them. May have a wee look.
Yeah, have a
find them. There was one with the video games. I remember somebody asked about what a favourite video game is, or I remember that. But
what was your favourite video game?
Oh, it's dead hard. Right now it'd be Grand Theft Auto 5, but of all time, I'd probably go with something like Final Fantasy 8 or Hitman Blood Money. That's one of my favourite games. That's a game. I just love that game. It's a tremendous game. So I'd probably go. I'd go with Hitman Blood Money as probably one of my favourite all-time games.
Yeah. I'm more into my strategy. Mine's probably Rome or Medieval, but Mount and Blade's a high one there. And I always like the old D&D computer adventure games like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale. Always a big fan of those. So they're probably up on my Planescape Tournament, that sort of thing.
So if you recommend a strategy game, because I don't actually play them, so for a beginner, would you recommend Rome?
I mean, it's not. It's a lot easier than some, especially Rome 2. They're a lot easier than some. I mean, Civ 5 is probably the best for a non-strategy player. I would have thought. Because the Civ games.
What about Tropical?
I
keep seeing Tropical on sale on Steam. Have you not tried that?
No, I don't know anything about it. Actually, I'll have to have a look at it. I've heard the name, so I don't know any more than that though. I tell you what, I've got a video I really want to do, but it's basically against the gaming journalist press, so I can't do it yet, and it's really pissing me off. You know, I hate having to like not go after someone.
Well, you mean you have to be nice to certain people?
Yeah, I'm gonna at least be sort of like political about it, you know. But now they're gonna hear it, and now I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. So.
Right, here's a question from Creepypasta Spiders. Let's try and keep up with this question and see, right?
Oh yeah,
would you rather live in a free and equal society, but one where all of the people are turned against each other, or in an oppressive and totalitarian society where you are part of the giant underclass, but where you're all united in loathing of your overlords. The stats are 5 and 100% are the overlord class. But they have space-age technology while you have the best 60s technology. Isn't that the way it is right now?
Yeah, pretty much. Sort of like
a
Elysium or something.
I would say, no, turn us all against each other. I'd rather be free, and, I'd rather be free. So, turn us all against each other, I don't mind.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not like... the second option, I don't think, would be sustainable anyway. It'd end up in revolution, wouldn't it? I think, it's just freedom with everyone being angry at each other, which I think may well be inevitable. The problem is that everyone can talk to each other so easily.
Well, true survival of the fittest as well, if it's everybody's free for all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, though. The whole going viral thing, information travels so much more quickly. You get so much more outrage that's over in a flash, and it's really strange. Normally these sort of things would build for a while as the information slowly disseminated itself among the population, and now it's just instantly. Everyone's raging on Twitter or something like that, or Tumblr.
There's a lot of trends in the news because of the internet. There's a lot of things that trend.
Yeah, the rape thing is starting to really piss me off. It's just as if they're just roaming rape gangs and women can't leave the house. That's the way they talk about it.
It's the obsession with getting the numbers up that bugged me.
Yeah.
It really, it's like looking at the stats and going, oh, I'm not happy with the amount of thefts. I want more thefts. It's like, it's so mental. See, these people give the impression they actually want more rape. It's very dangerous.
It's like Angry Aussie bumping up to 1 in 3 sexual assaults. 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted, which I think that's probably the highest I've heard. 1 in 3 so far, which is just.
But it's what is sexual assault? What they're counting is men chatting them up that they don't find attractive. That's what that counts as sexual assault. So and groping a woman and doing that is sexual assault. So how can you say it's all 1 in 3 women? It's beyond ridiculous. If you look through the same lens, it would probably be 1 in 3 men as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be. I think it's insane. Like you said, I think they really are just constantly, desperately trying to get the highest numbers they can because it gives them more victim fuel, doesn't it?
Well,
more hysteria.
But they'll even say stuff like that, and it really annoys me when they say this, is when they'll say, these are the rapes, right, but X amount go unreported. And it's like, but how can you possibly know what goes unreported? It is unreported. So they base all this off like studies and stuff, like surveys and stuff. That's not good enough. You can't possibly know what crimes don't get reported unless it's something like a murder. You've got a murder victim there, but you can't know a rape occurred if it's not been reported. It's so annoying, that stat.
They poll like 1,000 people and then apply it to millions of people. It's just like, that's not a good enough sample. Where did you do it? If you did it in the middle of London, then maybe there are more sexual assaults in the middle of a giant city. And
also, what are they counting as sexual assault? And what are they actually counting as rape? Because a lot of cases, it's did you give the guy full consent? Well, no, I didn't say anything. That counts as rape, even if she says, well, it wasn't rape. I just didn't say to him that we could have sex. And this is another thing as well. This whole consent thing is really doing my head in. It's because think of all the ways you could get consent, right? So before you have sex with a woman, you go, right, okay, I want you to write down your name and your signature on this contract that says you agree. Here's a witness here, and then here's a video of you saying it. Here's an audio recording of you saying you want to have sex with me. You've got all of that. All her lawyer has to do is go, she was forced into signing that, or she was under the influence when she signed that, therefore he's still a rapist. They're making it the case that every single guy, if accused, is basically a rapist. That's what they're doing with this consent shit.
Or is it like the New Zealand thing you're talking about?
Well, there's that you mentioned in one of your videos, but this has been going on for a while, this consent thing.
Yeah.
They try to make it the case that you have to prove that you didn't rape somebody, which is just so shit.
It's absurd. There is no way to prove consent, as far as I can tell. I mean, like you said, it could be said that it was just signed under duress, So it's invalid, and it doesn't leave any evidence. Saying I consent.
Well,
There's no
that's
evidence.
what they do with prenups. See prenups that get thrown out. Now these prenups were signed because the man didn't want to fucking lose half his stuff.
Yeah.
But then when it comes time for the divorce, the lawyer just argues that she was young and she was scared and she was pushed into signing this prenup. So the prenup gets ruled out because she was young and vulnerable and felt forced to sign it, and then that gets ruled out. There you go, you get half his stuff, even though he took precautions. And if you take precautions with the consent, it's not going to work because it will just get thrown out of court as soon as her lawyer says she felt under pressure to do this.
Yeah, that's absurd. I find that quite repulsive. She was an adult. She knew what she was signing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't argue that she's some sort of child that had no idea. She was forced into an arranged marriage at 14 or something. In that situation, maybe I'll agree.
Well, she had a couple of glasses of wine, so she was under the influence and easy to manipulate. So we'll have to rule that out.
Couldn't consent to that form. And it's absurd, and it just does my head in. It's just a way for feminists to make sure that women can have everything they want.
I have to say
I'm sure that most women aren't arguing for that.
I'm sure a lot of people are in the same position as me, where because I've got a son, it's scary, this consent issue. It's very scary for his future, because he can't go out just like I did, and have a healthy, relationship with women. He can't do that because he's going to be fucking terrified at every step, because shit, if he doesn't get the full precautions, then he's going to be a rapist. That's one of the worst things ever. I said to a woman today on Facebook, it was on some women's Facebook group, and I said that the more memes you put up, you're just making masturbation a better option than women. Well, there's anti-male memes you keep putting up. It's just like, you women are not worth it. I'd rather just have a fucking wank. You're just not worth it, man.
Yeah, no, this is why we have to talk about these sort of things. This is why people are watching our videos. It's because there is very much the sort of anti-male zeitgeist, and I mean, I do genuinely worry for young guys. I don't know them. Why should I? But it's just, I don't know. I just can't help it. These poor fucking guys are going to get trapped. Basically, they're going to think everything's fine until it hits them. And suddenly, like there was this anti-feminist woman who was saying, "Oh, I was a feminist until I had a son," and then he went to college and was the subject of a false rape accusation, and then he got just absolutely raped in the court. Straight through the system, all guilty all the way, and I can't remember what the actual result was, but it basically was a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just horrified that this is what feminism had done. And it's like, yeah, great. You only care now you're on the receiving end.
Yes.
You only care now because it's affecting you. And it's just like, any fool could see that this isn't an equal system. And if it's not an equal system, why the hell do you advocate for it? Honestly, it does my head in.
That guy T saying, could you give your opinion regarding the Not My Boss's Business Act being proposed in American Congress, basically prohibiting for-profit businesses from denying free birth control coverage? It's fucking crazy, and it definitely sounds it. I mean, they just want total control of what these businesses can do. And surely as well, if it was all free, right? If everything was like, if they were free to give whatever benefits they could, rather than being forced to give certain benefits, if they could all choose the benefits to give their employees, surely that would be better for business, because if one business is not given certain things in health insurance, then another rival business could offer it, but if they're going to force them to give all this stuff, then every company's basically the same and only given the benefits because they have to. That's not really good for competition, I don't think.
I think we're going to have to get, libertarian socialist Rands to teach them how anarchy works, because this seems very anarchistic,
Oh, what is it with him? He was anti-feminist one fucking minute, and then the next minute,
I know.
Surely that video he put up was some attempt at satire or something. It must have been. This guy, he used to be called Camilla Bams, and I used to be subscribed to him. I thought he was very funny, especially for a young guy. He's very clever. And then he started talking about politics all the time, and I was just like, oh, I'm not fucking interested in that. But no, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I'm thinking, the old scenario. He sees the truth, then some feminist sucks his dick, and then the next thing you know, he's like, oh no, actually, women are wonderful and they're oppressed. It's like, fucking man. I don't know. I'm hoping it was satire, and I just missed it. I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, it must have been. But that's the thing, this is what I'm trying to say. This is very much, state run. This getting the government to force businesses to do exactly what women want. That is anti-anarchist. You can't possibly be a feminist and an anarchist if this is what they do respectively. But yeah, this is absurd. Why? I mean, why should they have to do this? I don't think contraception is healthcare. I think it's something you can buy yourself. It's
yes.
Yes. I just don't think it is, and it's a very obsequious argument for sort of and just kind of dishonest the whole. Well, some women might die in pregnancy or something, so giving them birth control pills will prevent that indirectly. And it's like, well, yeah, I suppose it will, but not letting them drive prevents a lot of car crashes.
Yes. And cutting their head off prevents dandruff, I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, no, you're a grown person. You've got a job. You've got the majority of jobs now, I think. So buy it yourself. Bloody.
I'd like to thank the Mick2639 because it was him that gave me the idea for my latest video. Men need to stop calling women crazy. I just uploaded that video tonight, earlier on tonight, and God. It's fucking. You see the arse licking. He attempts to arse lick women, but he doesn't realise he's actually very insulting towards them.
I forgot. I did mean to bring up yeah, absolutely. I mean just servile nature of it was just infuriating. But I mean, I do think that there might be a valid point there. But it's not necessarily just, oh, men have to stop doing something. Women have to start understanding something. I mean, they're right. I mean, calling someone crazy is quite dismissive, and it is quite insulting. And so it's just basically a way of saying, look, I am so unaware of where you're coming from and what you're trying to say that it seems like insanity to me. So women need to start taking that on board and not expecting men to be fucking mind readers. It's like, right, if we think you sound crazy, what does that mean? That means you have to stop saying what you're saying and restructure it in some way that I can fucking understand. Because, I have no idea what your problem is, which is why you're being called crazy. So it's one of those things. I mean, he has got a point, but fuck you. If you're sounding crazy, I'm going to call you crazy. And it's not like a man wouldn't be called crazy if they were acting in the same way.
Well, it's another week and another again we're being told there's a word we shouldn't say. How often is this going to happen? I'll say what words I want to say. Don't tell me, how to speak or what to say. If women don't like hearing the word crazy, there's a very easy solution. Stop acting crazy and you're less likely to be called crazy. It's so simple. And even if somebody does call you crazy, so what? Crazy can actually, in some context, it can be a compliment. If, say, somebody tells a joke, like a sick joke, somebody might say, oh man, you're crazy, but they don't mean that in a bad way. They're just, oh God, you're crazy for telling that joke, but...
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it all, though. It's just, where do they think it's going to go? Do they think they're going to have... Do they ever think they're actually going to stop men calling them crazy when they're acting crazy? I mean... We'll just find another word for it that means the same thing.
But it's as if they don't say things to men.
Oh, yeah.
It's as if they don't have the words, to put men down. How often do we need to hear, oh, man up, man flu, or that shit, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hang on, that was actually something I wanted to... Sorry, it just reminded me. One of the things that was mentioned in the article, they're always like, men never call other men crazy. They only call women crazy. And I thought, well, that's obviously the most easy thing in the world to explain. Men know where other men are coming from. they understand their position, therefore they don't need to call them crazy. They can be more accurate. You're being an asshole, or you're a psycho or something like that. But with women, they can't seem to place where, or at least for me anyway, I find I can't bloody place where they're coming from, so they just seem insane. What I don't know, I can't understand the train of logic that must have, which was obviously train of logic, which is the wrong phrase to use, really, wasn't it? But yeah, it does my head in. So I've had some thoughts on what I think women might think the patriarchy actually is, or feminists, sorry, might think the patriarchy is. Because I mean, I as far as like when they say patriarchy, I hear the meritocracy.
Right. Okay. Aye.
I mean, how does everyone feel about that? Because that's the sort of premise I want to start with. Because for me, what I'm seeing is, them saying, from our point of view, it looks like the best person for the job should get the job. But they're arguing for quotas and all this sort of stuff that is the antithesis of how I think the system should be run. So, it's one of those things. So right, okay. So if that's what I would call the meritocracy, and they're looking at it and they're saying this is a patriarchy, what does that actually mean? I mean, it must mean that the things that would be required to engage well in the system are, in their mind, a lot more geared towards men, or something like that. So, as if like a man's natural proclivity to work hard and aspire is in some way biased against men because they have a natural tendency to do that, whereas I can only assume that in these women's minds they don't feel that they have a natural tendency to do those same things, and so they're looking and saying, well, this is very male focused, it's very advantageous for men because men like hard work and that's hard work, so this is a patriarchy. That's the only way I can rationalize it.
I think when feminists say patriarchy, right, I think what they're doing is they're trying to avoid the label of being a man hater, right? So they don't say men. Instead, they say society run by and for men. And I think that's what patriarchy means to them. A society run by and for men. And it really does show clear stupidity, because I said many times, it's white privileged women that are in charge. It's not men that are in charge. The men who are in charge are running after the white privileged women who tell them what to do. You see it all the time in politics. They are their little lapdogs. So although men hold most positions of power, they're not the ones in power. They're doing what they're told, and it's so obvious as well. Why do we have a Violence Against Women Act? It's fucking ridiculous. More men as victims of violence. So why does that exist? It exists because of the way they are able to manipulate the men in charge. That's why it exists.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there are women who, or feminists specifically, who use patriarchy as a mask to hide behind. But there must be some that genuinely believe in it. There must be some. Even the ones who are using it as a mask to hide behind probably still believe that there is actually a patriarchy, in that sort of tenet of faith of course there's a patriarchy, And I'm just trying to identify what they think, just what they're picturing in their heads or something, It's because I just can't justify it with all the women in power, with all the women with wealth. With all the societal advantages they have for women.
It's become one of the. It's become.
Sorry.
Sorry, man.
Oh no, say again. Sorry.
No, I'm saying it's become one of their buzzwords. I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You see that video the other day where the women attacked the pro-lifers? I don't know if you've seen this. I mean, in my opinion, everybody should have a right to protest. Doesn't mean I agree with them, But the way she acted, and then when she was called on it, all she could come out with was buzzwords, patriarchy, white male privilege. It's just like people like her believe this shit, but the ones who are making the videos like the Lacey Greens and all that kind of stuff, they don't believe in that patriarchy nonsense. Not a chance. They're just using it to get money, because they get a lot of money for that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that they're more capitalist than they are feminist. Like Anita Sarkeesian, it's all about money and I imagine it's something they do. I think they probably do agree with it, which is why they can carry on like they do. But I think that definitely the main motivation is money. I think it's just something they can feel comfortable doing because they probably do believe it to a certain degree. I mean, but I just think that's because it's the ruling sort of ideology in that circle, and it's that's something they can get on with. If it was anything else, I'm sure they'd be just as fanatical about that and using it as a way to make money, with their own videos.
No, I've said it before, but I take my hat off to the likes of Anita Sarkeesian, because if it's all about making money, she's done quite well. I mean, she's played the game very well. She said all the buzzwords, patriarchies and all that white male privilege shit. She said all the buzzwords. She's done what she's supposed to do. Now she's probably living in a far bigger house than I've got. Do you know what I mean? So, So she's done quite well for herself. So well done. You know what I mean? She's done well.
Oh yeah, she's the gaming press, even though it's out, even though everyone knows that she's a con artist, a lot of them still talk as if she's not, and it really does my head in. I'm just like, we all know, and then I'll go on the videos and in the comments and stuff, and I'll look, and there'll be people in the comments saying you're using Anita Sarkeesian, why are you doing this? But it's like this conspiracy of silence or something where they don't want to talk about it. And it's just like, because it's going to make you all look like a bunch of pricks, isn't it?
But when you point out she's a liar and say, well, look, she's lying, they then just say, oh, that doesn't matter, she's still got a point. So it doesn't even matter to them that she's a pure liar. They still throw money at her and awards at her. They're idiots, man.
Exactly.
She's got a say in the next Mirror's Edge, or I've heard somebody mention that. Now, what will be interesting is when that comes out, I'm sure we could all tear that game apart and find lots of sexism towards women in that game. I'm sure I could, easily, if we use the same lens that Anita Sarkeesian uses,
Yeah. One of the things, like you say, that they do always say, well, she has a point, and it's like, no, she doesn't. She's lying to make the point. That's what she's lying about. This is what I always just want to grab them and sort of scream at them. It's like, no, if she is lying with her statistics and lying about, the evidence she has, and then using it to draw a faulty conclusion, then she doesn't have a point, does she? So, I don't think that these video games breed misogyny or anything like that. Thunderfoot's video about her was perfect, explaining how she must have filmed the footage herself of abusing the women because he couldn't find it. He was just like, it's just guys sneaking by. Just they're trying to complete the mission for fuck's sake, because that's really how it is.
What she argues as well is completely against what feminism stands for. Take Hitman, for example, right? That's a game I like. Now and again, there are women who are the targets and you need to kill them, right? Now, surely a true feminist would appreciate that a woman is a target just as much as a man is a target. Why should she not be a target? Just because she's a woman, it doesn't mean she's not on a hit list.
Yeah, exactly. To quote Lacey Green, representation, it matters. There you go, you get represented.
And yet they still complain when they do get represented because they're not wearing enough clothes, or they're being killed, or they're sex objects, which is something that really bugs me as well, because when are people going to just fucking admit that for women, heterosexual women, men are sex objects, and for heterosexual men, women are sex objects? It's not all they are, but it's a part of what they are. Why can't you I accept that I'm a sex object to some women. That doesn't bother me. Why would women complain about it? I don't understand any women that would complain about, being admired, because that's what it is.
Absolutely. I do find, exactly like you said, why do you want to exclude one aspect of the human experience from your games? It's not like people aren't sexual, and it's not like every woman in these games is sexual. It's only the strippers who are, in real life pretend to be, pretend sexual. So it's not like it's misrepresenting the average woman as a stripper or something like that, is it? So
no. And
Yeah.
and then what's wrong with strippers? Because surely those strippers chose to do that job, and in a free society where women are free and equal to do what they want, then surely being a stripper is no big deal. It's a legal job. You're allowed to be a stripper. There's nothing wrong with being a stripper. So
Yeah.
what's the big deal? There's nothing illegal there.
If anything, the feminists should love it because it's exploiting men.
Yes, there's a part of that as well. Of course, those men agree to be exploited, but at the same
Of
time,
course, yeah.
they're all in it for the same thing. You know, they're all
Yeah.
part of the same game. You know, it's
Well,
not
I mean,
like women aren't
it's
getting
even
anything from the
exclusive
men.
with- Sorry?
It's not as if these women aren't getting anything from the men. These men are throwing
Yeah.
money at them. You know, so
Yeah. It's a bunch of adults conducting a commercial exchange, for a product. They've all
well,
agreed to it. They've
if
all
women
consented.
were as willing to throw money at men for the same thing, I'm sure a lot of us would be out there shaking our ass. You know what I mean? Because women would throw money at us. But the world doesn't work like that for us. We have to get out and do hard jobs.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's amazing how as everything gets easier, they get more. They start to complain more, and I find it baffling. Nothing's ever good enough.
No, nothing. It's the same with the wage gap
Sorry,
as well. I've always said that
look.
any true feminist should actually.
Oh,
Any true feminist should be celebrating the wage gap, because the wage gap proves that women choose to do what they want. You know.
yeah, absolutely. It proves that they've got self-determination. I saw the stats from it was Judgy Butch who posted on Twitter the stats for the degrees done by men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And men, 80% of STEM in the US this was, but I imagine it's fairly analogous over here. And 80% of the STEM degrees were men, 80% of them, and it's just like that's and all the humanities were majority women by like 2/3. I had to look through them. I'm just going to try and find them again. But yeah, all the humanities 2/3 women, and it's like, well, there we go. They're not wealth generating subjects.
No.
You can't just change economics to make the humanities wealth generating subjects. It's just you've got to do the STEM fields, ladies, and then that would be patriarchy probably.
But it's nursing and teaching and, as you say, all the human resources type of shit that they go into, and it's just what is that actually doing for society in general? It's ridiculous, man.
I love that it's so typically female though. It's the busybody jobs, the bossing people around jobs. That's how I always think of it. It's just like, oh, it always is middle management and human resources. It's like, oh yeah, you may as well be my mum. Fucking no.
And they've got comfortable conditions as well. The women, they always pick the comfortable conditions.
Yeah, they're not worried about the glass cellar, are they?
No.
Yeah, so I've just got this thing up, like computer and information sciences, out of 47,000 degrees, 38,000 are men. And it's like, well, they're going to earn loads of fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to completely throw the curve off. But if I go for education, 21,000 are men and 84,000 are women. Education, I mean, Jesus Christ, that's hardly like... And then teacher, 11,000 of those are teachers, and it's just like, it's just all spread across just health teacher education, foreign language teacher, and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, how are you going to make some serious money with that? How are you going to make money translating things? You're not going to get rich. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should get rich. And then get straight down to engineering, 81,000 men, 17,000 women.
I'm surprised 17,000 women are there, to be honest.
Honestly, I am too. But this is where the wage gap has come from, women. This is the feminists. Sorry. So yeah, I'm sick of hearing about the wage gap. I really am. I swear to God, I'm just going to flip out one day over it.
It's because they know that it works, though. They know that if they bring that up, you have to spend 2 or 3 minutes, refuting it. So they know this. That's why they bring it up. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Scott.
Muddy the waters.
Yes. Scott
Stop any
Smith says,
progress.
"Will either of you do a video on Lacey Green's latest video?" Now, as was done this interview on that, she was getting interviewed on some Australian fucking news show or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And God, it's just the same tired old horse shit, that they all come out with. Sometimes when I make a video on one of these people, I'm thinking, I feel I've said all this before.
Yeah.
I feel I said all this to somebody else before, because you keep saying the same stuff all the time. And Lacey Green is just doing what Anita's doing. She's saying all the buzzwords and the correct phrases because she doesn't believe it, but she knows that it will make her money if she says the right thing. That's why she's always in all these news things and fucking... She's everywhere, man, because she's saying what she's supposed to say, and she'll make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely right there. Yeah, it was the F word one, wasn't it? I just looked up.
Aye.
Yeah, I did watch it, and I considered it, but it was just like you said, it's just all the same thing. There was nothing different to her "Why I'm a Feminist" video. It was just a justification of those same points with the same justifications. It was just like, absolute point. So, what were you going to say something a minute ago?
I was just reading these questions and stuff. Let's see what else there is.
Oh, yeah.
Scarlett Johansson going around naked in Glasgow talking to everyday blokes, and Goodfella stuck at home making YouTube videos. Scarlett Johansson's running around naked in Glasgow. I really didn't know about this. The film Under the Skin is great and has a review, Under the Skin of Ruthless Femininity, in which we read this film allegorically describes and criticises male and female relations, focusing on how women are driven to treat men brutally. Well, I've not seen that, Under the Skin. I might look that up.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Could be interesting. Could be something different for what we usually hear, That was Dante Ariwolf that brought up the women-based products, by the way, right? I couldn't remember who said that. Right. Oh God, what's this? Is this the most sexist World Cup ever? Says Jeremy Morton. Because a bunch of attractive women were dressing up and people weren't outraged. But you see a lot of these women in the crowd. They're loving it when they're on camera. They're fucking. Sometimes I think they're there in the hopes of getting on the camera. But so what? So they look good and they want to flaunt it. Good for them. It's the feminists that don't like it. I don't mind it.
I don't know how that's sexist. How women making themselves attractive and deliberately making it so that they get attention by flaunting their sexuality. How is that sexist?
It's very odd. I mean, because I really think that if I was a woman, I'd be doing similar things, to get the attention from men. If I wanted to get men's attention, then in order to attract them, you have to look good. It helps a lot if you make a bit of an effort, Yeah,
a lot of women are good looking. They like to play up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it happen millions of times. Well, a lot of times. Before I say millions of times.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Alone says there's a short video that might make you a bit angry. The short is of a self-hating man who sees masculinity as toxic. I watched that the other day or yesterday, and I did feel bad for the guy. Did you see it? I take it you didn't.
I haven't. No, I haven't seen it. No.
No, it's your typical self-hating man. He's obviously very short and he's incredibly thin. And so he's thinking of like Bruce, sort of John Wayne, or sort of that sort of stereotype of masculinity, and obviously cut up about the fact that he doesn't live up to it. And I do understand how, or no, I don't understand necessarily, but I do empathise that it must be quite tough if there was something like that for me that I was supposed to live up to and I couldn't. Because of my physical stature or whatever, if everyone's supposed to be a basketball player, and then short me, I'm never going to be a basketball player. So and if it was that sort of thing, I really can empathise. But at the end of the day, trying to destroy it is less productive than creating your own new identity. You know, but if he were to, like, instead of trying to tear down masculinity, if he sort of blazed his own trail in a certain direction to create a different kind of male culture, I think that would be more productive. Because I don't really see that any reason that they can't exist side by side. You know, and so kind of the effeminate guys can go down this sort of less masculine route for sort of male respectability or self-respect, I guess. But maybe I'm just trying to be too nice.
Well, you play the cards you're dealt in life, and a lot of people have difficulty, you know, playing the hand they've been dealt. It's just some people get a shittier hand than others, and some people will see it as, like you say he was short and he brings down really masculine men. You know, it's like, well, why not highlight yourself rather than bringing other people down? What's it? It's the fat women thing all over again. How many times do we need to hear fat women putting slim women down? You know, stop putting them down. Don't even mention them. You know, make yourself more appealing and stop putting people down all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. You know, if you project negativity constantly, that's what the impression people are going to come away with, which is why people on Tumblr have no idea why everyone hates them. You know, when someone just asked, Quegs just asked, what do you guys think of Tumblr trying to invade 4chan?
Oh, I seen it was Internet Aristocrat that he made a video about that, and that was just brilliant. It was like the biggest mistake they could make was to attack 4chan. Of all the websites, that was the one. I mean, I'm never on 4chan, but I see a lot of stuff from there. People sell that stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just, you don't attack them. That's just stupid, and they'll never live it down now. They'll destroy Tumblr, so they will destroy it now.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Now, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. I was finished there. I was just saying they'll totally destroy it, so they will.
Yeah, I really think that they've done themselves far more damage than 4chan ever really could have done, any other way. I mean, I've never used either site. I went to Tumblr like a while ago. I didn't really understand it, so I didn't really know how to navigate it or do anything on there, so I just left it. I went to 4chan and had exactly the same experience. I was just like, I just don't understand how this works. I'm too old for this. But I understand. To be honest with you, 4chan actually looks kind of fun. You know, it kind of looks like it might be a laugh. But that's because I quite enjoy trolling. But yeah, just attacking them, and it was just so obvious that 4chan was just gonna, like, you've got all these tags, and we're not going to put some trigger warnings on this sort of rape pictures or whatever they had, and it's just like, honestly, Tumblr, you fucking idiots. You've got to now commit to the triggered thing. So now you'll have to be running around in hysterics because that you've got to, because otherwise everyone's going to be like, so you're not really that bothered then. You're kind of talking shit, aren't you? This is all made up, isn't it? So, and obviously they're never going to do that. So, yeah.
The thing about 4chan as well is that they're well known for creating lots of memes. I mean, when you go into Know Your Meme, most of them are created on 4chan. So I mean, they just pick the worst people to attack. So that it serves them right because they attacked them first. It serves them right. It's not as if 4chan were bothering their ass, but now it's like, no, okay, you want to hit us, we'll hit you back. And now they're all crying about it, and it's quite fun. It's fun to watch, though. As I say, I don't go on these sites either, but I'm watching videos of it and stuff, and it's quite amusing.
Yeah, I can definitely laugh at it. I mean, what did Tumblr actually do to 4chan? Didn't they post lovey-dovey messages or something there?
I don't know. They just tried to take over 4chan Day or something, and it's something like that. They tried to attack 4chan for the day, but basically making it all about them, and it's just a silly thing to do. Really,
they probably went on there and traumatized themselves.
Probably. Because that's what 4chan's like. You don't go in there because it's probably the most offensive website on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're easy offended, don't go on there.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what makes it look kind of fun. But Jesus, this is sort of the strategy gamer coming out thinking, well, that's an awful move, they're going to get crushed. But yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, I imagine that most of the Tumblrites have gone crawling back to Tumblr, and 4chan are just back on 4chan, cackling with glee.
I think they'll do it again. I think 4chan's going to attack them again. No, that's what I think they'll keep doing it just to teach them. just to teach them a lesson, you know.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad for Tumblr in any way
No.
if they did. You know, if they've kicked the hornet's nest and then they're going to get repeatedly stung. Well, whose fault was that, idiots? You guys need the lesson. That's another thing as well, isn't it? The sort of general atmosphere is that 4chan is doing everyone a favour.
Aye.
Thanks, 4chan. You're our hero.
So what do you think of this story? Remember the one I put on Facebook earlier? The 6 women emerged from toilet in train passenger attack.
Yeah, I haven't read that. Do you want to read it out?
I'll read it out right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab another cup of tea. Sorry, I'll be able to hear it as you're reading it, though.
No problems. A man who tried to force a train toilet door was left with a broken nose and 2 black eyes after 6 women emerged from the cubicle to confront him. The 54-year-old man was on the Southend Central service at Benfleet in Essex when he was assaulted. When the door opened, 6 women in miniskirts emerged shouting. 1 punched and kicked him onto the platform. He fell onto a second woman on the platform who responded by punching him, police say. Why the 6 women were in the same toilet cubicle is currently unclear, police say, because they're really, really, really clueless. I mean, right away when I read that, I knew they were taking coke. I knew they were doing lines of coke. Obviously, they're in miniskirts. They're probably going out. They're in a cubicle, 6 of them. They're obviously doing lines off the fucking toilet system. Obviously, man. But the police don't know this, you know. As the train stopped, Sergeant Emma Weir said, as the train stopped, one of the women punched the man in the back of the head, kicked him off the train. He fell onto a woman who accused him of trying to steal her bag. It's the fucking trading places, isn't it? He protested his innocence, but the woman refused to listen and attacked him, punching him in the face before leaving the station. He's got a hairline nose fracture, 2 black eyes, and several bruises and scratches. The women on the train were in their early 20s, and they were described as having blah, 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 right? But the thing is, as people have pointed out on my Facebook post, there is no CCTV images of these women. There are no, look out for these women. None of that. There's nothing. Yeah. Now, if this had been 6 men that done that to a woman, punched her, kicked her off the train, she landed on another man, that man then went, hey, you're trying to steal my wallet, punch. Now, all those men's faces would be on this news story, and there'd be a fucking manhunt after them, and it would be the main story on the news. But of course, when 6 women do it, it's just a bit of fun. It's just a girls' night out. Fuck's sake. It's typical, but it's as clear as day that had this have been sexes reversed, there's just no way they wouldn't have had they definitely have had a manhunt.
That is just absurd. I mean, the idea that they can think that 6 of them are in the toilet and there are no drugs involved. I mean, they haven't said that, but they've definitely gone out of their way to assume that there was nothing really going on.
Well, that's another thing. If that was 6 guys, I bet you they would have checked that toilet for cocaine.
They would have gone crazy about it. I mean, there's what possible reason could 6 women have to be crammed into a train toilet? I mean, they're not spacious. Even like the disabled ones aren't spacious. You know, no. So I mean that's absurd. But yeah, and the just unmitigated violence of it. I mean, what the hell? You know.
They know they can get away with it, but women know these days that they can get away with punching you in the face. They know they can do it. Yeah. And as the story proves, the police won't do a big manhunt for them because it's just girls, and surely girls couldn't hurt a 52-year-old man or 54-year-old man. Surely not, you know? It's just so shit. And then the women as well. He fucking gets punched off a train, lands on top of her, and she goes, hey, you're trying to steal my bag. What the fucking clown is this? You know?
That's insane. I mean, what he is obviously in an altercation with these other women, and he has been struck. He has fallen over. I mean, she couldn't have not been aware of that. Surely, you know, they were surely shouting and stuff. You know. Mm-hmm.
But maybe they were shouting things like, "He attacked us," you know.
Wow, yes.
You know, things like that, you know. And the women's just thought, "I've got a great chance here to punch a guy because I hate men, so I'll take that advantage because I know nobody's going to come after me or look for me." As is proven with this story, nobody looking for them at all, and to be able to do it again next week, probably on the same fucking train. The police won't be looking for them.
Yeah, if it was men, you'd have all the pictures and names by now.
Oh, I definitely. I mean, like, there's no way that train didn't have CCTV footage. There's no way the station didn't have CCTV footage. No way in this day and age. That's impossible.
Yeah, if it was a woman saying that a man groped her or something, they'd have that. If they were accusing this guy of something, they'd have pictures of everything that happened.
They'd have had them at the next stop, because those women must have stayed on the train. The police would have been waiting at the next stop if that was men.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just it just shows everything, doesn't it?
Well, also as well, think of all the other passengers on the train. How many of them would have intervened had it been men doing that to a woman? You know?
Oh yeah,
None of them intervene when 6 women are attacking an old man. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. Sorry to say 54-year-olds are old, but you know what I mean. It's a bit older than them.
It's getting more frail. You know, it's not necessarily like they're not made of glass, but you know, they're not. They're not they're on the decline, isn't it? Well, it's sad to say.
If it was a woman, she'd be classed as elderly, I suppose, in the context of the story. So.
I've got a good one from the Daily Mail. It's just one of those. I haven't actually read the whole thing, but I've read the title and I thought, right, I'll save it. So the title is, I went out with 98 men in 9 months and none of them led to love.
I wonder why.
If you can believe that. Women's social experiment aims to prove that dating is unnatural. It might be, I suppose. I mean, so a woman has made it her mission to prove that formally dating is tedious, unnatural, and unnecessary. Relationship expert Susan Winter, who is in her 50s, wrote on the Huffington Post, of course, that she has no problems with meeting men organically, but the concept of the dating world does not appeal to her. To hit back at critics who have accused her of never having officially dated, the Manhattan-based writer agreed to go out with any man who asked her out, which resulted in 98 dates in 9 months. I mean, she's really not all that good looking. I guess she's slim, so that's probably it. But and rather than changing her mind, the social experiment merely reinforced her views that dating is just the required presentational stage for a possible future interlude. Dating in today's world is more akin to an extreme sport. Jesus. She offered, slamming it as a chance for both parties to superficially parade their talents and possessions. High-heeled women flaunt the sex card as they savagely stampede each other for man's attention. Miss Winter emphasizes that she uses dating in the traditional sense of the word, otherwise known as courtship, meaning she did not sleep with all 98 men. I'm glad that she felt the need to include that caveat.
Well, saying that though, I mean, if that's like 98 men in 9 months, was that? So that's 11 men a month. Now, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with a single woman having 11 dates per month. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know, but I don't think she should be calling herself a relationship expert if she goes out with 98 men, and you know what I mean? She's not exactly a friggin' expert, is she?
Yeah, she's a dating expert, but I mean, that's 3 different men a week. I mean, that's quite a lot. 3
free meals a week.
True. But again, it's the thing about the dating, isn't it? The guys ask her out because they'd like to see more of her. So there's the kind of, and she probably knows that she's not with most of them. I know it's just an experiment, but
she claims. She claims that after being caught with 98 men in 9 months. Oh, it was a social experiment. Aye,
right. Yeah, probably is the case.
That's like when Pete Townsend was caught with a child porn. I was researching research. Aye, right.
She found that the majority of men she went out with treated the date as an opportunity to name drop their famous friends and prove their power and influence, which makes me wonder where she was meeting these men. I mean,
and it's what message are women sending out where men feel they have to say these things to get them to like them?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's another great point because I've never. I mean, I don't have any famous connections, but I've never been on a date and felt the need to fabricate any or anything like that. I've always just been myself, I guess. But yeah, so she concludes that meeting a potential match the old school way without the mutual and unnatural desire to impress trumps the meet and greet method so common in today's dating world. Which, I mean, I think is obviously true. I don't think that she needed to go on 98 dates to prove that. I think it's just common sense kind of bears that out.
Although she did say that she would get with any man that asked her out. If 98 men asked her out, then she stuck to her word,
Yeah.
But and she says she didn't have sex with them all. But again, even if she did, I just always treat men and women the same. So long as they're single, they're not doing any damage, and as long as they're safe, nothing wrong with having 11 a month. If I could get 11 women a month, I'd do that. I'd be happy with that. You know what I mean, though? It's I can't look at her and think, oh God, that's terrible, because why should she not have an enjoyable single life if she can do it,
No, I mean, honestly, for myself, I just think, as long as they're not hurting anyone, let them do what they want. That's how I feel about politics. Any manner of these strange degeneracies. Like, I've got friends who are, friends of friends who are furries, and I just don't understand it. But they're not doing anyone any harm, so I just
they're what? Sorry, what are they?
Furries. They dress up in full body suits that look like anthropomorphic cartoon animals. So like a cartoon wolf suit or something.
That sounds mighty strange, but it's just not my kind of thing.
Excuse me. It is incredibly strange. I just don't understand it. But my friend's brother has come to a pub with us and a nightclub with us, and that was the only time I was like, right, okay, I really wish he hadn't actually come with us. And I don't get embarrassed easily either, but it was weird. It's a really weird thing, but it doesn't hurt anyone, so I leave them alone.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the thing. They're not doing any harm. So you can mock them though,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they're not doing any harm.
Yeah. Yeah. I found something interesting. I found was a Gallup poll. The percentage of women who feel unfairly denied in a promotion, and I get the feeling that this is going to be roughly. Sorry, go on.
So surely everybody who goes for a promotion and doesn't get it probably feels, oh, I should have got that. No?
Well, apparently not. Apparently not.
Just
no.
women.
No. All women done in this poll. Let me just check. See if I can see how many people it was of. It doesn't say. There's 1,000 adults, 18 or over. So not a huge sample. But all women, 85% didn't think they'd been unfairly denied a promotion, which seemed incredibly reasonable. I wouldn't expect the percentage for men to be that high.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously unfairly denied based on sexism. So I'm guessing the 15% that have are probably feminists.
Probably, or just complainers. People who think they're better than they are, maybe. But just overconfident. Could be that as well.
Yeah, which is feminists to a T. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like 85% are like, no, I don't think it was, it wasn't discriminatory. It was, there were obviously good reasons why they chose someone else. And I suppose there are going to be some that, like you said, I personally probably would feel that I've been unfairly passed over regardless, I suppose.
Well, I wouldn't go for a promotion if I didn't think I could get it. So if I went for a promotion and I didn't get it, I would think, oh, wait a minute, I thought I was good enough for this. So maybe that's what it was.
Maybe they were going for absurd jobs that they knew they wouldn't get.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, it doesn't have men. But Democratic and Republican, and this was interesting as well. For Republican women, it was 88% said no, they haven't, and for Democratic women, it was 85%. So for the political leaning, so it's pretty similar across the board there. That's one of those things that I find quite interesting. But for liberal women, and then moderate women and conservative women, liberal women it was down to 75, and apparently the rest obviously thinking they have. So it should go show more liberal women are feminists, because I honestly think it's the feminists who have got this kind of self-entitled attitude. I'm a woman, therefore of course I should get a promotion. I'm a woman and I wasn't promoted. It must have been sexism. You know, there's no
Well, that
way.
does happen a lot.
Yeah,
That does happen
exactly.
a lot. Sexism's the first thing they go to, isn't it? But
Exactly. You know, so they're the ones who feel that they've been unfairly denied the promotion.
so do you see them as three different groups, Conservative, Democrat and Libertarian? Because I find a lot of the time that the Libertarian ones sound very Democrat. But again, I'm probably making a lot of mistakes here, because whenever people talk about this kind of stuff on my videos, they're always disagreeing with each other, and it's hard to decide which one is which.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, as far as I understand it, the Conservatives and the Libertarians are probably the closest together. I would have thought, because I thought that they were arguing for like small government and stuff like that, and lower taxes. Whereas I suspect the Progressives are arguing for a bigger government and higher taxes. But I'm not too sure, to be honest, because like you said, I'm not really part of like the American media, or I don't really watch that much of it, so I don't really understand it all that well. And the labels never get defined. Hello? Are you still there?
Yes.
Ah, right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize. Right. One thing that I found interesting was this article written by a billionaire. Ultra rich man's letter to my fellow filthy Americans. The pitchforks are coming. Filthy rich Americans. Sorry, the pitchforks coming. Which I thought was a very interesting sign of the times, and I've been saying it for ages. But basically, it's a billionaire who's concerned that the peasants are going to revolt. And I think he does make the argument that
Against the billionaires.
Sorry, yeah, to other billionaires, saying, look, this is like the most plutocratic society ever, and we're really benefiting, and the peasants are probably sharpening their pitchforks. So I mean, it's just something that I found that I definitely think that that's going to happen. It's you know, I think when things get really bad.
What would the beef be with people who don't have money, with people who do, except for the fact that, hey, they've got money and I don't? I mean, if they earned that money, the people who didn't earn it don't have a right to go and take it, or revolt against them, really.
That's, in principle, I agree with you. But the argument he's making is that the system is far too weighted in his favor. So it's far too easy for him to not only make money, but make a lot more money than realistically he should. And so he's basically making Henry Ford's point of, look, who's gonna, because he makes he's got a great statement where he says, we like our customers rich and our employees poor. So the customer pays over the odds and they pay the employees under the odds.
Mm-hmm.
And this is arguments for the minimum wage and stuff like that. And he's basically the Henry Ford thing, that Henry Ford was paying each of his employees $5 a week or something. And when asked, he said, "Well, I want them to buy my cars." And this guy's making that point, saying, "Look, my customers are getting poorer; they're spending less money." It seems to be a bad system that has produced so many billionaires and so many, proportionally absolute poor people. And he's worried that they're going to, be right at the bottom of the ladder with no prospects, and that's when people get disenfranchised and desperate.
But what kind of action does he expect from them? I mean, what would they do? What do you think he means?
Right, let me just get to his conclusion. Sorry, it's a really long article. So he says, so why not talk about a different kind of New Deal for the American people, one that could appeal to the right as well as the left? First, I'd ask my Republican friends to get real about reducing the size of government. Apparently the Republicans are a fan of big government. But he says, the federal government's too big in some ways, but no way can you cut government substantially, not the way things are now. Bush and Reagan had 8 years to do it. They failed miserably. It doesn't really help anything, does it? He's looking for... Republicans and Democrats in Congress can't shrink government with wishful thinking. The only way to slash government for real is to go back to basic economic principles. You have to reduce the demand for government. If people are getting $15 or an hour or more, they don't need food stamps. They don't need rent assistance. They don't need you and me to pay for their medical care. If the consumer middle class is back, buying and shopping, then it stands to reason you won't need as large a welfare state. And at the same time, revenues from payroll and sales taxes would rise, reducing the deficit. This, in other words, is an economic approach that can unite left and right. Perhaps one reason the right is beginning inexorably to wake up to this reality as well. Even Republicans as diverse as Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum recently came out in favor of raising the minimum wage, in defiance of the Republicans in Congress.
So it's his idea. He wants to raise the minimum wage so that people can afford to get their own health care and stuff like that. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right. So, but surely would that not mean if you raise the minimum wage, that's obviously going to cost companies a lot more money? Would that not mean the price of things like healthcare and would go up along with the wage rise?
Well, I think
if the minimum wage was to move up, would that not mean all other things that cost money would probably go up a bit as well in order to cover the costs? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think what he's actually asking for is for billionaire CEOs to take less in dividends out of the company and to accept a lower wage. I don't think he's... I mean, that what you're saying is that definitely that's an avenue it could go down. Absolutely. The cost of things will rise because these CEOs don't want to take pay cuts, and therefore, they're just going to raise the price of everything. So, in effect, there would have been no point having a minimum wage or raising the minimum wage, because it'd be the same position, because they don't want to take a marginal, any kind of cut to their wages or their dividends. But I think what he's arguing for is these billionaires to earn less money, ultimately.
Yeah, I don't see in a free society why they should. I mean, if they are earning that money, all right, you might not say they're earning it, but you know what I mean. If they want to get these jobs with these benefits, why should they take less money? Would the people? I know he's a billionaire, so I suppose he might say no, I would do it. But would most people just happily agree? Oh, okay, I'll earn less so that other people have got more. Because I wouldn't be happy with that working my way up. Say for something like a company like Apple. Imagine you worked your way up and you get brilliant benefits, and then all of a sudden you're told, maybe you should get a bit less. Because the only reason I fucking worked my way up the ladder was because I wanted what was there. Now you're being told, you shouldn't take all that. I don't see why. I don't like that idea of telling rich people to take less money. I don't see why they should if they've earned their positions. I just don't like that idea. What's the limit? What's rich and what isn't? Does it have to be billionaire? Is that what do you know what I mean? Is that the minimum?
No, I do see what you're saying. I think that he's... I don't really see how that this would impact the sort of middle area so much. It's really going to only impact the very, very poorest and very richest, because the very richest are the ones taking dividends from the companies. They're the CEOs, they're the shareholders. I mean, there will be shareholders who aren't as rich, but the majority of the money that's making these guys millionaires and billionaires. So I don't think that, like, the person you're thinking of, the person he's moved his way out of the minimum wage, he's got into the sort of middle management area, and then he's gone up to, say, upper management. I mean, he's still not he's not a CEO.
He's not a billionaire, no, he's not a billionaire.
No, he might get, say, $250,000 a year or something, but he's not going to get, like, huge amounts of dividends, of millions of dollars or anything in single payments and stuff like that. So it's not going to affect someone who's worked hard up the ladder, I don't think. I think it affects the people who are just at the top. And to be fair, they're making way too much money. Well,
like, that's very easy for people like us to say. I mean, like, for example, if I was making that money, I would have a bigger house and stuff like that. I'd still have things that I'd have to pay money for, and I'd have a better lifestyle. But it's dead easy for people like us to say, oh, those billionaires, they shouldn't have that much money. Whereas if I was in their position, I would be thinking, fuck off, I fucking earned this money, you're not getting it.
I really do totally appreciate that sentiment, especially as at the moment I'm doing exactly that. I'm starting. I'm the director of my company.
Mm-hmm.
For the game thing, we've got no turnover and nothing on the books, because we haven't got a product yet. But and so I really do understand the idea that what I'm actually arguing for is that if I become really successful, then I will earn less money. I totally understand that I'm arguing for that, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the coin, it's not like you ever get to that sort of pinnacle on your own. You can always say you earned it, but what you're really doing is saying,
Oh, did we cut off? Did I get cut off? No, I'm still here. Yes, you still hear me, right? Or are my fucking headphones not working or something? Right, let's see here. Don't know if I can be heard in Sargon. I can't hear Sargon right now, so right, I can hear through the earphones, so my earphones are definitely working. Sargon got cut off there, I think, talking about billionaires, and it's true. Yes, Avoc 23. Not all billionaires earn their money, but and yes, people do not need billions. But what if they do earn the billions? What if they've made all the right moves in order to get those billions? I remember years ago. You might not know who he is, but Paul Daniels. He's quite a famous magician over here, right? A TV magician, And he was on a show and he was talking about he's got a Rolls Royce, and loads of people would always say to him, fucking Rolls Royce, think you're better than everybody else, and snarky comments. And he said, but I worked hard to get that Rolls Royce. I worked for a lot of years and saved up a lot of money to get that Rolls Royce, and now people are kind of looking at him as if, oh, you think you're better than everyone else. And it's like, but he wanted a Rolls Royce and saved up for it. And that's like these as well, where these billionaires, the ones who do earn it, because I know not all of them earn it, but a lot of them do earn it. Why should they be told that, right, you need to earn less? I mean, would that not maybe, I don't know, stop them from being so competitive if the money stops at a certain level? I don't know. They always want more profit, these companies.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. My internet connection dropped and I'm just back.
So you're still here.
Cool. What was the last thing you heard that I was saying?
You were talking about the how it would affect.
Yeah. So I on one hand, I really do. I completely understand the sentiment of I've earned it. Why should I pay more? But it's getting to the point where there's, I think, too much social inequality, and I don't think the actual contributions of the people being employed to reach the pinnacle where these guys end up is being given enough credit, I suppose.
It's never going to be completely equal. I mean, it's just it's the world we live in, but it's as equal as it's as equal as we can get right now until a better system comes along. We're doing all right now, but I don't know. But as I was saying just a minute ago, see if they say there was a limit cap, on billionaires. You can't earn more than this or something. Surely would that not affect competition? Because maybe it'd be like, well, there's no point in bringing out any new products because I can't even earn any more money than I'm earning, than this limit. So what's the point?
The thing is, I mean, when you're a billionaire, are you really that concerned about earning more money? What is there that you can't buy?
But it's not just. It wouldn't just be the individual. There'd be shareholders as well. They want their money. These people are like the mafia. They want their cut. And if you're telling these billionaires you can't make so much, then that means all the shareholders' cuts go down, and it's just. I don't think that's good for business. No limit is the way I see it. Don't have a limit on anything. Earn as much as you can earn. Whatever way, legal way you can do it, then go for it. And if these people are earning it legally, and then I have no problem with them having their money. I don't think they should have less.
I understand the position, but I think there does have to be some sort of compromise reached, because even if in principle I agree, the reality is that you're getting a lot of really poor people who are really to the point where a billionaire's saying, "Look, I think the pitchforks are coming." So even if even if that's true, and it might well be, the reality of it is there are a lot of poor people, and the pitchforks are coming. So something should change before we get to that point, I think.
I just have difficulty picturing poor people, getting up in arms against the rich people. If anything, they'll get up in arms against maybe the government in charge or something, but not the rich people. Surely they would want to be the rich people.
Yeah, but the thing is, most poor people have got no chance of becoming the rich people. That's the thing. This is the problem. The lack of opportunity. Social mobility is stagnated. It's really stagnated, and the odd success stories like Mark Zuckerberg and all that. They're the overwhelming minority of examples. Most people are just stuck in the same shitty wage slave jobs that they're born into. Sort of, it's almost becoming castes. It's social mobility is really stagnated. So that's the thing. There are no opportunities to become rich now.
Well, I don't know about that. I think there is opportunities to become rich.
There are opportunities.
You just need a talent. There has to be a talent. There has to be an idea. I imagine Dyson. I imagine he wasn't rolling in cash when he came up with his vacuum cleaner, but now he's rolling in cash. Now, if he was told, say, just take him for example, if he was told, look, you can only earn $1 billion. Once you get to $1 billion, you can't earn any more than that, right? Maybe he would then think, I've got a fucking great idea as well for a new product, but I'm not going to bother. What's the point? I'm not allowed to make any more money.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a good way for me to explain what I'm trying to get across, but I don't think I'm doing a great job.
No, I get your point. I do get your point. It's one of those. There's two sides to the story.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But the people in the very middle don't seem to be having much of a say. It's the poor people and rich people.
I guess they're the ones who are suffering, though. Well, the rich people aren't suffering, obviously, but I guess they're the most. I suppose when you're driving around in a Mercedes and someone else can't really afford to feed themselves, then there's going to be a certain amount of understandable resentment. But what I was going to say is, I take your point about Dyson. The thing is, people are working ridiculous amounts of hours for not really enough money. People deserve. I think they do deserve a bit more money for the amount they seem to work. And the thing that's the thing. It's like, people are always just tired and concerned about the immediate things right in their face. Everyone's concerned about like this week's bills or this month's bills and what they're behind on their credit card payments and all that sort of thing. They don't really get time to sit there and invent a new way of doing things. I mean, with this game, there's no way I'd be able to do this game if I had to work full time. It'd take forever,
Mm-hmm.
And this is the only option that I've really got to create a sort of self-sustaining business for myself, as far as I can tell. So, I would just be trapped in the system, and so trapped in the sort of wage slave system of working for a big corporation and being at the bottom.
But it depends what you want out of life, though.
That's
you don't have to work all your life to get all them. For one person, you don't really have to work like a full-time job, overtime and all that. You really only need to do all that if you're wanting the promotions and want to put the work in, or you've got loads of children to feed and you just fucking have to do it. You've no option. But for a single person, you don't need to be a billionaire, but at the same time, it's not that bad out there. You can get a job, and and even if it's part-time, and just plod along,
Yeah, but is that really? That's great for a single person. There are still plenty of people who are in relationships who have got kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can see why they might be having financial problems.
But if they've got financial problems, and then all of a sudden the government says, right, okay, the minimum wages went up to whatever it goes up to, then okay, they'll have more money, but they'll then have to spend more money because all the food is going to cost more that they need to feed the kids with. Well, I think that's what people argue about the minimum wage, whereas we've got the minimum wage here in Britain, and I think it's probably over 10 years ago The minimum wage came in, and it goes up. It goes up every now and again. It's a good thing in Britain. I think it's done well in Britain because everybody thought all the prices, all the basic stuff's going to go right through the roof, and it's actually not like that at all. There's a lot of things that are cheaper than they were.
There was a time when it did, though. I remember when milk went up by 50%.
But because of the uproar, it had to be brought down again.
Yeah, but that's the point, you know. So like you say, you know, you're worried about everything increasing in price, but we know that it doesn't, you know. And like you said, some things have actually gone down a bit.
No, but we know that because we're in Britain. But I'm saying that the argument from the people in America who are against the minimum wage usually goes along the lines of, if you get a minimum wage higher, then all the other prices go up. Whereas here, I don't think that's the case here, you know.
Yeah, I don't see why it would be the case there unless it was just CEOs making sure they didn't take wage cuts, you know, or payment cuts.
Julie Borowski, she makes good videos about things like this. I don't know if you watch her, Julie Borowski.
I've actually just subscried to her because I saw a video of hers a while ago and I forgot to subscribe, and I'd forgotten who it was.
I like her. She's top class, you know. She's anti-feminist as well, you know.
Yeah.
She gets a like from me, but she talks about that minimum wage stuff a lot. I think if you watched her videos on it, she'd be able to give you far more facts and details than I ever could.
Yeah, I will do.
I think that guy T as well. That guy T.
Yeah, he's very good.
I'm sure he's made a video about the minimum wage. I'm sure he has. He'll know what he's talking about as well.
He does, and I agree with a lot of his position in principle, but I think that it's slightly idealistic. But because he's a young man, I think, you know. I think that he's looking at the principles of the system and saying, hey, these are great principles, you know, and they are, you know, they absolutely are. But when translated into reality, I guess people's greed kind of warps the system somewhat, so we end up with the system that we've got now. So I something's got to be done. This is what that billionaire is going on about. You know, he's convinced that something's got to be done. So, and I do agree, just from a historical point of view, that when you get this sort of level of wealth inequality, is when you start getting, you know, mutterings from the peasants, and they do start getting a bit rowdy, and it would surely just be better to avoid that.
But those peasants, right? They do have the opportunity to make as much money as they want if they've got the skills, the talent, and all that. But this is the things. A lot of them don't have it, so they do have to plod along and do the normal jobs that everybody does. But you know, but they do have the opportunity. If you were poor in America, we're talking about America, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, but yeah.
But if you were poor in America, you can make it to the top tiers of the, you know, whether it's famous or rich or anything like that. You can do that in America. That's one of the great things about America, where that doesn't matter how poor you are or your background, you can make it if you put in the work. You do what's required, and you have the skills and the talent to do it. Nothing stops you in America. If you had the same skills in Iran or North Korea. No, if you had the same skills in North Korea, you wouldn't be able to use them and put them to good use to make it to the top tiers. Whereas in America, if you've got the skill, it doesn't matter how poor you are, you can make it with time, work, effort, all that, you know. And it's a lot to do, and yes, of course, there are people who get it just handed to them. But I'm not really talking about them. I'm talking about people who earn their money.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree that. That is the case, but it's to the point, I think, where the system's a bit rigged against people doing that. You know, I think it's very difficult for people to compete with these giants who are dominating the markets already.
Well, you couldn't compete with them right away, but if say for example you're talking about a big company like, I don't know, Samsung or something, you couldn't just come out with a phone and compete with them. It would take years and years and years of hard work to even get started. But this is the thing. And you'd be allowed to do all that hard work in America. It's just whether you can or.
But the thing is that I guess what I'm thinking is so what if you were just one of these guys who doesn't have any particular talents? I mean, does that mean you deserve to be impoverished?
No, nobody deserves anything, though. Nobody.
I agree.
There's no. It's just, again, it's the cards you've been dealt. You know, you might want to be like for example, I might want to be a 100-meter sprinter. I know I can't do it. I know it's never going to happen. So I know right away, stay away from that field. I'm not going to do well there. Well, you know, I've got to look at other fields, look at other options. Maybe I want to be a DJ. Maybe I want to be an artist. Maybe I want to do this, that, the next thing. There's lots of ways to make money. You know, you don't have to be a billionaire, but you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money being a tattoo artist or something like that.
Well, again, that's a skill, isn't it? That requires
true. That's a skill. That's
it. What if you were just, you know, a factory worker? You know, you didn't have any greater designs. You're not very smart. You know, no one around you is very smart. No one around you is even telling you that there is anything like more. You know,
I don't know. I find it hard to.
You're the Sun reader.
I find it hard to sympathise with them. You know, I find it hard to sympathise. I've worked with a lot of stupid people.
Yeah, I have as well.
And they don't deserve to anything more out of life. Do you know what I mean? They don't deserve anything more out of life because they've not put in the effort. You know, a lot of people think they deserve more than they've got, and then if they looked at the big picture, they'd realise, actually, you know, you've got your health. You can't just expect to be, you know, a billionaire and stuff.
Yeah, work in a dead-end job and you get what you deserve, sort of thing. And because you didn't pay any attention at school, you've not tried to improve yourself. I totally get the argument. I really do. But
these days as well, right? Although people say, you know, you need university degrees. See if you've got access to the internet. You've got all the education you could possibly want. If you want to be clever, you can. All you need is internet access. That's all you need, and you can make yourself clever.
I agree. And there is a part of me that wants to be all hardline like that. You know, like no, you know, you've got everything. You've got all the information on your iPhone, for Christ's sake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could do it if you just put your mind to it. But they're never going to. And so, do they deserve to live in poverty?
No, so they don't deserve it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They do. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They don't. But the thing is, it's hard to imagine a time that they could be any better. You know, some people, you know, might well be restricted by, you know, actual, like, you know, maybe just like the number of connections in their brain or something. You know, I don't want to use the term privilege, but. So, you know, something physical that it's not necessarily their fault, and cultural as well. I mean, a lot of people that I know that are poor have got absolutely no aspirations, and it's because they really don't think that there is any chance of anything. And so their aspiration is to hold down a 45-hour-a-week factory job, and it's like, Christ, that's awful, isn't it? You know, but but these people might work very hard doing these jobs, so why shouldn't they? At least earn a bit more money, a living wage, you know, rather than having to struggle for money all the time. They go to work every day, you know, they work hard. They're not rocket scientists. They're never going to invent anything, but they go to work, they do their job, they do it to the, you know, as well as it needs to be done to the best of their ability. I think they should deserve, you know, a bit more than the crap that they get at the moment. Now, you know, they don't deserve to be worrying about money all the time. You know, they do work. They contribute to society, even if it's just moving boxes from one area to another. You know?
There's a couple of good points here in the comments. Panzer Vance says the world needs ditch diggers, which I can see the point there, you know. And Joseph Smo says not everyone is above average, which I totally agree with. Danny Boy says, good fella, you can make yourself clever, however, it doesn't get you the degree to get you into the Fortune 500 companies. But aren't two good examples of this Bill Gates and Steve Jobs? Now, they didn't go to university. I think Steve Jobs went and then quit. But they don't have their degrees, and I mean you can't argue. You can't argue with these two, you know. So I see what you're saying. Obviously, it does help if you have a degree, you know, in certain. But you can still do it, you know.
Yeah, but a lot of this is about opportunity, because Bill Gates really got his money from selling DOS with IBM computers, I think it was. And he didn't.
He got his money originally from Apple, didn't he?
Was it? I thought it was. He bought
IBM. Sorry, something like that. He got his money originally from IBM or something.
Yeah, because what he did is someone else had written DOS, and he'd bought it for something like, I don't know, $50,000 or something, which was quite a lot back in the day. But he hadn't done the work. He'd got the money speculatively, I think, and then yeah, he managed to persuade IBM to package it with every machine, and then suddenly, boom, that's Bill Gates and Microsoft made. But that's a very rare opportunity, isn't it? I mean, how often is that going to come up? Where someone else.
It would happen more if it was, I don't know, encouraged more and more people knew they could do it, rather than people thinking, oh, I can never make it.
I suppose, but matey who's digging the ditches, he's never going to do that. I like the idea of it being an option that's there. I definitely think that it should be there for some people, for the people like
equal opportunity.
Like, yeah, absolutely. There should be the opportunity, but I don't think everyone should be incentivized to necessarily take it, because it'll clutter it. You're going to get lots of shit put out. I mean, the indie game scene is having this problem right now, where anyone can. I mean, there was a rock simulator. It's a joke, but it's just like, the tools are so easily available now that anyone can make any kind of crappy game without really putting any real work into it, and it's completely saturating the market. It's making it so that it's absolutely diluting the indie gaming scene, and it's making it a bit of a joke, to be honest. And I wish people would fucking knock it off. If you're gonna make a game, make a game. If you're not, stop doing it. But I think like the post said, we're always going to need ditch diggers, and I don't see any reason to encourage them, because frankly that opens up avenues for me. That clears a couple of useless people out of my way. So I'd rather the ditch diggers paid a little bit more. And you never know, I might be back to ditch digging one day. So I'd like a little bit more.
Yeah, but then there's another way to look at it. Right? There's another way to look at it. What if the ditch diggers are paid more? They then might not be encouraged to get away from ditch digging and move up. That's another possibility.
Well, do we want them to?
Well, maybe they can't. Maybe they can't because they don't have what it takes. But the way I see it is, it always down to equal opportunity, and it does not mean equal outcome. If people realise that, then that's the way. Why countries like America are the way they are, because they've got equal opportunity, but they don't get equal outcome. That doesn't come with it.
I'm fully with you there. That's the gender wage gap thing, isn't it? That's the thing of a free society. But I don't think people should necessarily be penalised for being on the low end of the outcome rather than the high end of the outcome. And it kind of feels
they're not penalised. They're still getting paid. It's just, but they're not getting paid a lot. So, say for example, you're young and you're in school, right? You should be told when you're in school that this is what a ditch digger makes, this is what a CEO makes, so that you know when you're in school, I don't want to be doing that, I want to be doing that. I think that helps more to telling them in school what these people earn and what they have to do to get there.
I agree in principle, but a ditch digger is always going to be the bottom of the scale. I just don't necessarily think it should be as low as it is on the scale. I mean, anyone is obviously going to make more money than a ditch digger. So,
but a lot of these ditch digging jobs, like for example in sewage works and road works and stuff, they pay a lot of money. They pay good money.
But their careers. I mean, they require skills. That requires training. You can't just do those things. I'm thinking like McDonald's employees and stuff like that. They're still doing jobs. They still work hard, and they still
have to be trained. But at the same, but it's a job that's got a certain demand, and I've seen this argument before, and I really believe this argument, right? If Steve McDonald's put the minimum wage all the way up, right, then they'll just replace the staff with computers. That's what's going to happen. We've already got it happening in Tesco.
I think that is actually a definite concern. That, like you said, it's kind of outside of the scope of the point I was trying to make. But I think you're absolutely right. That will be a consequence that has become available, isn't it?
Well, it can happen easily. All you need is one person to bring you your meal. The rest you could do yourself on the little screen. I'll have this, I'll have that, and pay for it with your card right there and there. You don't need a human being there except to bring you the stuff.
Well, I mean, I imagine they'll probably end up with like vending machines, essentially, where you go, you pay, you get a ticket or a card or something, like with the parking, with the little barcode sort of card, and then you wait in line and it says being card number 56 or whatever. You put card 56 in, it opens up, there's your meal that someone's prepared, then you take it and then you go and eat it. You can completely remove people from the equation, and I imagine they will eventually.
Not in all jobs, but in a lot of jobs, and if companies have to pay more for staff, they might think more about, let's just get computers in, let's see if we can replace them. You know,
Yeah,
whether
absolutely.
if they're not forced to pay more, they might not think like that. I don't know.
Well, I think they're going to think like that inevitably. I don't think that we're going to be able to get away from that. It's the you know, when there's a new technology and they do it in supermarkets already, you know, it's going to happen, isn't it? You know, as people become more familiar with using robots or, you know, mechanical devices to to be served, then I think it's the way it's going to go.
When they're more reliable, it will work. But the thing is, if
Yeah.
I go into a supermarket, I want a person. I really do want a person. I don't like that putting out, you know, up through in the bags yourself and through the screen and right, weigh the bag now and all that. I hate all that shit. It really winds me right up. I'd rather somebody just put it all through for me and told me how much I need to pay.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely hate the machines, and I think most people do, but they're probably going to be more cost effective in the long run. So there we go, money, isn't it? Rules everything.
But I think 90% of the time I've used one of those machines, I've needed one of the staff to help me because it won't count some of the items that I've put through or something.
Oh yeah, and the weight
Like
thing.
that. So I need to get somebody anyway. So it's like, what was the point in having the machine here when I have to get somebody to help me?
Or for alcohol, if you're going to buy some beer.
Oh God, aye.
Yeah, I
Just
need someone there
got
to
tags
sign
on
it.
it.
You may as well have just been a serving staff, you know. I've got an article from the Huffington Post, which I thought this will be a nice, fun change of subject. I think. Right?
Cool.
Can your daughter accept a compliment? It's like, right, okay, I know where this is going already. I started to see it happen last year when my daughter was in 3rd grade. She and her friends lost all ability to accept a compliment. If you told one, hey, congratulations on your science project, she'd respond, thanks, but did you see Christine's? It's amazing. The hell's wrong with that? That's being modest.
That seems quite nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's really nice and modest, and I would have more respect for the girl for saying it, you know. And if a girl told her friend, I love your curly hair, and the latter would respond, yuck, I wish my hair was straight like yours. And it's like, okay, that's probably just a false thing, you know. No one ever says that sort of thing. But again, it's if they did genuinely mean it, it would be, you know, that would be a mature thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so this author, Michelle Cove, she's like, it didn't matter that what the compliment was. The goal was to deflect the praise, deny it, and get rid of it faster than a hot potato. And it's like, no, it's just being modest. You know, it's just being pleasant. And so,
maybe the other girls was better.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe it was, you know. But it's just a respectful thing to do, isn't it? And this woman's just complaining that these girls aren't just like, yeah, I know, I'm fucking awesome. What is she expecting them to say? It's like, yeah, I know it. You know, this is how you get these fucking women with such big heads and who just think they're the tits at everything and are actually no good at anything.
Her daughter might have turned up to school for the, I don't know, show and tell or something, and she might have took a balloon on a stick. Whereas this other girl, she's built one of those big volcanoes that works, you know.
Yeah.
And then so when her mum said I don't know, complimented her, her reaction was, "Aye, but did you see hers? Because hers was much better."
Yeah, it could have been amazing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it could have been absolutely amazing. And so she goes on to say, like, so why is this a problem? Well, I don't think it is, but go on. The bottom line is, what we say about ourselves matters. Yeah, it does. You know, that's the point. It matters that she's being modest about herself. I mean, someone's just given her a compliment. She knows that person must think highly of whatever they're complimenting. And it's just mature to say, you know, just sort of, you know, thanks, but, you know, there's something else that's better than me, or something else I respect, or whatever, you know. Just or to return it, or say, it's just nice, isn't it? But yeah, she goes, it affects how we think of our essential worth and how we make choices. Being able to accept praise expresses to the world we understand our value. It's just, if we can't learn how to identify our own strengths privately and publicly, we can't possibly reach our full potential. What the fuck sort of potential are they expecting that they all have? You know, they're not all snowflakes.
But I mean, imagine being her daughter God. It's just no fun at all. Looking through everything to see if it's, how is it affecting you? And, oh, for God's sake, man.
Yeah, really overthinking it, aren't they? But to be fair, though, right?
Yes.
Her advice is actually sound, despite the fact that she sounds crazy. She's like, as for mums, how can we help our girls accept praise? Oh wait, hang on, no, she doesn't. Sorry, I misread that. She's, I was giving her too much credit. She says we teach them to say thank you when they receive a compliment. That to me sounded reasonable, and I thought, well, yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And then she goes, that's it. And it's what do you mean that's it? So she basically thinks that that's not good enough, and she wants to get into the earlier we get our girls into the habit of to break the habit of rejecting praise, the better. They're not rejecting praise.
Totally not.
Every time they're like, thank you. Also, did you see so and so's? It'd be like when if someone compliments a video I've done and someone else has done a video that's in the same vein, I would point that, like Dr. Random with the female privileges one. I specifically put a link to his continuation of it because he did a damn fine job of it. And I wanted people to know about it. It's
just a total non-issue. You know what I mean? It's just there's not a problem there at all, but she's managed to find one, which is very typical of these fembots, man. They can find a problem with anything at all. Sargon's been cut off right now, but let's go through some of the comments on this other video that he put up. All comments, and I'll see if there's anything interesting to bore you with. Let's see. Alright, Yvette Cooper and her awful bias against men. We were talking about that earlier. It's just crazy, man. She just gets away with it, man. She just gets away with it, and nobody from the opposition even says anything. White feathers, executions for cowardice during World War I, and the standards to which men had to live up to. Alright, and the white feather campaign's just beyond disgusting. Beyond disgusting. There was a thing I seen on, it was Time Team. You might be able to find it actually. It was a Time Team program, and they were talking about exactly that. I'm trying to find it here. And it was, sorry, but just because I'm timing in, it was like the white feather campaign. I need to look at Time Team. I'll put in white feather. Okay. And it's just a sad story. This guy had written a letter, I think.
I swear to God, my internet is the worst thing in the world.
I'm just looking up. I was talking about the white feather campaign. I was looking up the Time Team white feather, but I can't find it.
Oh, is that from World War One?
Yes, it was a.
Well, they went around shaming men who didn't enroll in the army.
It was on. There was a thing I seen a while ago. I just can't find it on here. I've no idea. Time Team white feather. I'm looking up, but I can't find it. Team.
There was a Time Team thing, was there?
The show Time Team with Tony Robinson.
Sorry, you've gone a bit robotic again.
Yeah,
maybe it's just mine.
Well, anyway, in Time Team, he was talking to this, woman, and she told this story about this boy who, a woman came up to him on like a bus or something and pinned a white feather on his chest, and then from then on he felt guilty and enrolled in the.
As a way of shaming him.
And then he was killed on one of the boats or something, and it was just really sad, This was just a young guy. He must have been like 15, 16. And these women, privileged women, are going up and saying that you're a coward if you don't go and fight, and it's just the one of the worst examples of what women are like, and yet it hardly ever gets mentioned. You hardly hear anything about it, to be honest. Compared to how often we hear about how women were not allowed to vote, same time period, Well, we hear a lot about that.
They got the vote in the same sort of time period, like you say, and what annoys me about that, right, is the blasé way. I mean, I've been listening to Dan Carlin's First World War podcast, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying what these guys were going into, because he does such a great job of putting you in the position of a soldier and being like, look, right, and he tells you, he gives you nice long quotes from people who were actually soldiers watching it happen, and the sort of just terrible human hardship that was undergone, and the trench life and all that, and it I swear to God, the idea of them blasé going up and giving them a white feather and going, go off to war. I'm shaming you into going off to war, and it's just like, fuck you. You go off to war if you want to.
It's just sick, and you'll probably notice as well. Back in those days, those young boys were guilted into going to fight and die and kill in a war. I mean, it's just the thought of it, the fucking thought of that alone,
Yeah.
It's just horrible, man. It's horrible, man.
There was definitely a point. The Christmas truce was like the point where the top brass were a bit worried that the soldiers realised they had more in common with each other than they did the leaders they were fighting under. It's just like, I've got to stop the fraternisation between the troops.
But when you hear about all these young boys, and they were young boys and young men, you didn't hear a lot about PTSD. You know what I mean? Whereas feminists on Twitter, they get PTSD, It's very strange, isn't it?
There definitely were like situations where that PTSD happened. It just hadn't been diagnosed. And the thing is, that was because it was all new. Because
it wouldn't have been called that back then.
Well, it's not that it's more that it didn't. It was brand new because it kind of came in from like the shelling and the fact that these guys. It was a feeling of helplessness because normally, people used to like going to battle. That's why everyone sort of signed up to World War I thinking, hey, this is going to be great and heroic and glorious. And then they all just get shredded by the tens of thousands, and it's just just 24-hour artillery bombardments where it's just shrapnel exploding above your head for hours and hours and hours, and you can't sleep, you can't move. And that's where the PTSD, that's where it really started kicking off, So this was all brand new, so it wasn't diagnosed. It didn't. I mean, sometimes it must have happened, but it wasn't like how it normally was, So, then when you get like the fucking Tumblr feminists going, PTSD for Twitter, fuck yourself. I saw a video earlier. I was gonna do a piss take of it, but it was just so pathetic. Where this girl was like, "Oh, I was in a park, and with some friends, and then some other people we knew came in and started firing fireworks in our direction, and that gave me PTSD." And it's just, oh, fuck you, fucking fireworks. And she's like, "Oh, one of them hit a car, and I keep having flashbacks." So fuck your flashbacks. Fucking firework.
Being a victim seems to be. You get attention for it,
Yeah.
But the biggest thing you get from being a victim, which is why a lot of them want to be a victim, is, I know it's not a word, but it makes you uncriticisable. You can't criticise someone who is a victim. That's why there's so many victims these days, because they don't want to be criticised for the bullshit they speak.
It's all about their feelings, isn't it? Fuck their feelings. I don't care about their feelings. They don't care about my feelings.
They certainly don't. That's why I'm all out attack with them all the time, because they're asking people like me to care about their feelings, but they do not care at all about other people's feelings.
Yeah.
I'm all out attack.
Yeah, they will not hesitate to call me an oppressive piece of shit, and it's just like, well, you don't know anything about me. Fuck yourself. That makes me feel horrible. I don't like to feel that way. So obviously you don't care about other people's feelings. Why would I care about yours?
Exactly.
Fuck those guys.
Give and take.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, it's this victim status that they say. They adopt the mantle of victim, and then suddenly they're like, "Oh, well, that makes me morally superior." And it's like, no, it doesn't.
I've seen it happen before, where a woman will say during a discussion, somebody will lie about rape. 1 in 4 women are raped.
Yeah.
You'll point it out, and then someone will say, "Well, I was raped." And then when you dare criticise her for anything, somebody will jump in and say, "Oh, how can you talk to her like that after what she's been through?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's going to give a flashback.
She's been through. That's not going to stop me speaking my mind.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop the truth being the truth. Even if, like Tumblr attacking everyone, you guys can claim to be all the victims you want, but, at the end of the day, you're still attacking everyone, and that makes you dicks.
I had a woman telling me today on one of the threads on YouTube, and she said,
Oh yeah.
actually, more people on this thread agree with me. And I was like, well, that doesn't fucking mean you're right. No, just because more people agree with you doesn't mean you're right. Christ. That's how people correct. If something's popular, that must be correct. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's a fallacy from argument from popularity. Exactly. It proves nothing. It just proves there are a lot of people who might be wrong.
Well, exactly. Well, as I said to her, I would rather be have no one on my side, but I was right, rather than having everybody on my side and be wrong. You know, I'd rather be right.
But the thing is, I think that's why we've got any subscribers, though. You know, I think that because I mean, I know when I first started doing these, I really did feel like I wasn't really very much aware of like the wider community, and I started doing them, and I felt like I was literally the only person having this point of view. You know, having a more rational sort of, you know, come on, let's all sit down and stop screeching victimhood sort of point of view. You know, and it's nice to know that there are other people who think like that. I just don't seem to have any of them around me in real life.
I've said that before, that before the internet I always felt alone with what I thought. I always felt that everybody else thinks something different, whereas I can see through the bullshit, you know. And then the internet came along and showed that I wasn't alone, you know. There's actually a lot of people that think like me, and that's good, you know. That's a positive thing. Yes, it is. Yeah, you don't feel as mad. You know?
No, I do know exactly what you mean. Well, one thing that I find bizarre is, I mean, the way I look at the world is very much egalitarian. I don't think that excuses need to be made for anyone, and so I don't make excuses for anyone. And so when these people, I mean, everyone else seems to be quite happy to make excuses. You know, oh well, you know, that's because of X, Y, or Z, and it's just like, well, that's all well and good, but you know, I mean, if it was a physical thing, like, you know, why didn't the guy with no legs run up the stairs? Then fine. But most of this isn't, you know. Most of it is wishy-washy excuses and feelings. And it's like, okay, well, get a grip on your feelings and all of your problems will go away.
Well, that case with the 6 women in the cubicle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Punching that guy in the train. That's a good example, because when women hear about this, they won't. What they'll do is they'll go, oh, but what did they say to them?
Exactly.
What was it he said to those girls? Do you know what I mean? It's like they've got to find a way to justify their behaviour. You know, I know he landed on that woman and she punched him, but maybe she was scared. What did he say to her? You know what I mean? And they'll just make up any scenario to make whatever happened perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
You know,
as if women can't.
Women only do things.
Too.
I know it sounds silly, but I see that as disrespectful to women to claim that they can't do things wrong. Women are just as capable at putting their mind to doing something bad and completing that task. Why can't women be bad? You know, every time they're bad, it's because of something else. Usually a man.
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? It's like the feminists are always going, oh, it's the radical belief that women are people. It's like, okay, well, like people, we can accept that some of them are bad. You know, some of them aren't good. You know, not all of them are. You know, they're not angels, for fuck's sake. You know, it's like
funny when feminists.
Sorry, go on.
It's funny when feminists say the radical notion that women are people when they are barely human themselves. You know, the feminists. Yeah, they've got some nerve.
I was just having a drink of tea there. But no, yeah, it just does my head in that they want equal treatment, and then they still adopt the sort of the special stance that you would take for someone who wasn't your equal. You know, that's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't treat someone with no legs differently, but I would take into account that they had no legs. You know, when I was arranging something or meeting them or something like that, I wouldn't say, you know, meet me at the top of a flight of stairs. You know, that would be, you know, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people like start with the excuse like, well, they were women, so it can't have been their fault. Like you say, you know, they're absolutely going to make excuses, and it really does matter.
Well, to do an impression of a To do an impression of a woman, if you took the Oscar Pistorius example, you know, he doesn't have any legs. Now, what we could say is, but what did his wife say to him before he shot her? You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous, you know?
But I seen that sort of thing under every story where a woman's murdered someone. Every story. Every newspaper article, I should save them and make a compilation of them. But there's every time, and my missus always sends me like Daily Mail articles where something like this has happened, and then someone underneath it has gone, "Oh, that poor woman, he must have driven her to it."
Yes.
Or when she's murdered her kids, "Oh, that poor woman, she must have been so stressed out." And it's like, who gives a fuck? You know, why are you making excuses for them? You know, it's because it's a woman, and therefore women need the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that's true.
One of the worst ones was the Mary Winkler case. Do you know about the Mary Winkler case?
It rings bells, but I can't give you any
details. Mary Winkler was a woman who shot her husband in the back while he was sleeping, right?
Oh, very honourable.
She cut the phone lines so that he couldn't phone for help and stood and watched him die for 20 minutes, right? Then she emptied his bank account and fled to another state to meet up with another man, right? Jesus. She served a total of like 12 days in prison, right? She then got to go on Oprah Winfrey, right? In front of an all-female audience, she had the little sad face on, right? And she said that her husband made her wear these shoes, and it was just normal white high-heeled shoes, right? And all the women in the audience were gasping, "Oh my God," as if it was a terrible thing that he liked her wearing shoes, and as if that was a legitimate reason to shoot him in the fucking back while he was sleeping.
And then stand there and enjoy his suffering.
Yes, but this whole case, if you look up Mary Winkler, if you look it up, you might end up doing a video on it, right? Because it's a very interesting case. But one of the worst comments I've ever witnessed from a woman was in that case, right? And it was a news article about it, and it showed you a family photo of her husband and her children, right? Yeah. And she fled with the children, that's right. Anyway, it showed you this family picture, and the woman commented on the story, and she said, "You can tell just by that picture that she was scared of him. Look at her eyes." And I could not believe I was fucking reading this, man. I was like, you know that she shot him while he was sleeping in the back? You know this? And you're saying that, oh, but look at the photo, the family photo from years ago. She looks scared. This is the kind of shit they say to justify the women's negative behaviour. It's the worst, man.
I am actually sickened by this. I found it. The Oprah Winfrey speaks to Mary Winkler. The woman who killed her minister husband tells Winfrey it wasn't intentional. Fuck you, wasn't it intentional? You know, you cut the phone lines, you shoot him in the back.
When you
go
through the whole case, it's disgusting.
Sorry, say it again, mate. That cut out there.
You may want to make a deal about it because it's a very interesting story. Make sure you read all sides of it, no? Because there's a lot hidden in the main. A lot of little details that are hidden in the feminist version, you know. No, I think that was just her.
She only got 7 months.
But that was the time waiting to be tried. She didn't get bailed or something, but then she only got to serve 12 days, and she took out. I'd say there's a lot of facts about the case that I'm not covering here, but the thing is, the woman murdered her husband, shot him in the back, totally. Yeah. One of the well-known shows in America, Oprah Winfrey, to tell her sob story about her being a victim of this man, and there's nothing that she says that justifies that man being shot in the back. Not one thing does she say that can justify this behaviour, but all the women lapped up her story and they just played her as a victim.
And things, even if there was something that did actually make it seem like she had a case, make it seem like, you know, there might have been an understandable reason, he can't defend himself.
No.
You know, we just have to take her word for it. That's the thing. You know, even if she came up with a good reason, he can't defend himself.
We're supposed to buy into the whole years of abuse bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bollocks. So, you know, you can leave. You know, you can tell someone, you can do something about it. You don't cut the phone lines and shoot someone on their bed and watch them die.
if you're a woman in America,
All
you
things
can
fishy said, look at Carla Homolka.
Homolka.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I don't know about Homolka, but I will look that name up. But if you're a woman in
I'm just
America,
getting up, and it sounds.
if you're a woman in America, you can go on
Yeah.
live TV, a big talk
Well,
show,
you can just-
and just play victim to shooting your husband in the back.
Fucking
That's what women. That's privilege. That's privilege right there. Carla
It's
Homolka.
disgusting, isn't it? Just the jail time thing is one of the biggest privileges. Yeah, I've got it here. Convicted Canadian
helped her
accomplice who
husband.
helped her husband rape and murder at least 3 women.
Did she get less time than him? No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt he
Attracted
got all the
worldwide media
time because it
attention,
was his
which is
fault,
good.
and she probably got fucking.
Oh, without a doubt.
I don't even know
To
anything
be
about
fair,
the case,
she
but I'm
got
guessing
12
she didn't get much time. Did he get more?
She got 12 years, actually. Yeah, he probably did. I'm just going to look him up. He probably did get more time. They always do. Life imprisonment with possibility of parole after 25 years. So he's probably still in prison.
Unreal.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. So, you know, despite the fact they're both involved in this quite heavily, clearly, she gets literally half the sentence he gets, literally. And it's just like...
It was like that case here a few years ago. It's quite a few years ago, and it was.
This is the reason I think he's so angry.
Right.
You mentioned it, right? The videotapes of the crimes that were later found demonstrated that she was a much more active participant than she had claimed. As a result, the deal that she had struck with the prosecutors was dubbed in the Canadian press the deal with the devil. Public outrage over Homolka's plea continued until her high-profile release from prison in 2005. So basically, she was probably the instigator. You know, there's, you know, it sickens me whenever anyone enjoys that kind of thing, you know, but it especially sickens me when it's the people who couldn't do it on their own. You know, that I find that something about that is just even worse than someone who can operate alone and do that.
How do you find an accomplice? I mean, how do you bring that up in conversation? Hey, I fancy raping somebody. You want to get in on it? How do you bring that up?
She probably went up to her husband and was like, you know, darling. He's like, yeah. It's like, I'm really bored. I want to do something. He's like, oh God, what? We haven't done anything for ages. All right, what? Oh, I want to go out and rape and murder some girls. Fine. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Some people are a bit too frank with each other, I guess.
There was a case here in Britain a few years ago, right? And it was like a paedophile ring. And it had like 7 people in the ring. 1 was a man, 6 of them were women, right? And the 6 women, I think it was 6 women, tried to claim that it was the man that made them do it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, are we really supposed to buy this? You know, that one man can make 6 women, you know, pass photos of children around? How can a man have that much power over women over the internet that he's never met?
I bet they believe it, though. I bet they retcon history in their own minds. And like, you know, oh no, he definitely forced me to do it, you know, and they become convinced of it. I've seen women do it. I've seen it happen, where they genuinely convince themselves of their own bullshit. And I think that it's because, I don't know how they manage it, but because, I mean, it must be just an emotional defense after being caught doing something so horrible. You know, the best way to persuade someone is to believe it yourself or something. I don't know.
A defence that's probably worked their whole life. You know, it's probably worked for them their whole life, you know. So
men give women the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, too much.
Yeah, by far.
Felix Una says women are expert manipulators. I remember I said this to a woman once and she got pissed off. She said to me, name one thing women are good at, you know, and I said, women are good at manipulating. And she didn't like that, and I says, why? What's wrong with that?
That's a hell of a skill.
But they are very good at it, though. I mean, with somebody like me, I don't fall for it because I can see through it. Yeah. But most people do fall for women's manipulation, you know. They're very good at it.
Most men, definitely. Most men think that complying with the manipulation is going to get them somewhere. I've seen so many, like, I guess beta guys, you know, I've had friends who are, I guess that you'd consider them beta sort of thing. but they completely buy into the bullshit that the woman's spinning, and cooperate fully, and then wonder at the end of it why they don't get laid. And it's just like, you've just sacrificed your time and effort. I used to work with a guy who used to drive around this girl all the time. He was never getting any offer, and we were all like, look, mate, you're wasting your time. Just stop it. You're wasting your time. This went on for years. He never got anywhere. And it was just like, she's just taking advantage of him.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows it, and he's complying with it, and he's too stupid. He's just so convinced that if he just keeps doing it, eventually, for some reason, she'll decide, yeah, okay, let's have sex. And it's just like, no, that's stupid, mate.
But
stupid.
What's amazing is in that scenario, right, he's giving her a lift all the time, probably in the hopes of getting something from her, right?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas he would stand more of a chance of getting something from her if he said, no, you can fucking walk. Do you know what I mean? Women would prefer that.
It gives her a reason to do something for him. It's if he was like, no, I don't feel like it, and she's like, well, I'll have to persuade you in some way, and therefore suddenly the power's in the ball's in his court. He's holding the power, and she has to do something for him, and so and to get something in return. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think he's far more likely to get laid if he was just saying no.
Mm-hmm. I'm positive that women prefer a man who puts their foot down.
Oh, absolutely.
They want a man who's going to, basically, not all the time, just when enough is enough, they want to know that he's going to put his foot down and say, right, okay, enough. Yeah. But if you're not going to do that, you won't get any respect from a woman if you just let them walk all over you, because they will walk all over you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they definitely want, and it gives them something to aim for, doesn't it? Something to work towards. I'll change him, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Don't change for a woman. Let her continually try, and I don't think you'll have too many problems. It gives her something to aim at.
Well, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want a sap who agreed with me all the time, and
exactly.
You know what I mean? I would rather a guy was a guy.
Yeah. I mean, I do genuinely think that the women who I've been out with who have been most into me are the ones that I think have looked up to me.
Mm-hmm.
And had respect for my intelligence and the things I know and the way I present my arguments and the way I carry myself. I think I think the ones that have liked me the most are the ones that have definitely had the most respect for me. And I think that one of the things that I honestly think one of the reasons that these feminists and the people who support them, they're so eager to tear down masculinity, is because I think on a deep subconscious level, it's sort of like vindicating their suspicions that maybe these men weren't worth it in the end either. They allowed this to happen, and so if they allowed this to happen, they must be weak and pathetic, and fuck them. Fuck men's rights. Fuck these guys. They're fucking weak. They've allowed this to happen. They don't deserve to be held in any regard. I think there's a certain amount of malice there. And I know it's a broad, sweeping thing, and I'll never find an example for it, but I think that there's an undercurrent of that.
It's just like a massive shit test. Women give men shit tests all the time, or a man test, to see how much, see how much a man they are. Women use nagging a lot to get a man to react. It just depends how he reacts. Is he going to react like a sap, or is he going to react, like he's in charge? Which is what they want. They won't say it. They'll never say it, but it's what they want.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But that's the thing. That's where I think the vitriol and the subliminal hatred that women have for the manginas, the male feminists.
Mm-hmm.
Women don't like them. The feminists don't like them. They're not getting any. They don't even get any respect. And I think it's because subconsciously the feminists are like, I can't believe he's allowed this to happen to himself. I don't think they'll ever articulate the thought, but I think there's the innate sort of almost like the uncanny valley sort of thing. It's a subconscious feeling that I think that they have. I really do. And it's entirely about the fact that these guys don't set boundaries, like Felix just said.
Well, there's just no way that video I made earlier about that guy saying, "Don't call women, crazy."
Crazy. Yeah.
I mean, there's no way women can like that man. There's no way they can read what he says and like him. I mean, they'll use him though.
Oh,
They'll share his story on Facebook and say, "Oh, this man gets it," But they would never like that man.
It's like the bambossing thing, Any guy going along with that is instantly going to get sort of locked out of vaginas for the rest of his life.
Oh, aye. He's no chance. No
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's putting your foot down. I think that that's what I mean. I think women really feel the need to have something to look up to. And I know that's a really broad way of looking at it, and I'm sure there are plenty of examples that don't follow that, but I think overall, the most successful men are the ones who are going to have women actually holding them in high regard, rather than a sycophant who just does everything they want when they ask.
If only we had Claudia on to ask her what women want.
I would absolutely. I would love that.
If you get her into your circles, you have to invite her to the next one.
I might ask her.
Tell her I'll be friendly.
Yeah, no, I will. I might send her a message and ask her, because to be honest with you, I just want to know how quickly it's going to degenerate into her calling us misogynists.
But I honestly believe. I mean, some of them would, but I think she would be nice if she was invited and she came on.
Yeah.
I think she would be nice, even though she could still have a dig at us and stuff. And we're not going to cry if she calls us misogynist. So, so I don't mind that, but I don't think she would. I think she would be nice. I actually believe she would be nice.
Yeah, I genuinely think she would too, and I'd be interested in hearing her opinion on some of these aspects of things, because I doubt it's something she's really considered before, because I doubt this sort of thing is really in the sort of the lexicon of feminism.
She may not be comfortable coming into a discussion with two guys as well. Who knows? But as I say, if she knows that we would be friendly, we won't be nasty to her or anything.
No, I wouldn't be looking to humiliate her.
No, not at all. No, nothing like that. Just to change her mind.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I actually really enjoy her videos, because she is funny. She is a clever girl and she is funny. I'm not joking. She's just got a really, really different perspective than I do. But she's
likable.
Yeah, she's likable.
I know what you mean. She can be likable. Do you think she can be turned round?
Yeah, I think that. I don't necessarily think turned round is the way I'd put it, but I think that you could probably make a good case to her that she would consider, because I think she is better than most feminists.
I would give her that. I mean, even though I've slacked her off and stuff, I would give her that, because she seems, compared to a lot of them, she's not as obnoxious, and she's not as annoying. She's more pleasant than most of them. I would give her that. She is more pleasant than most of them.
Yeah, definitely. I would much rather have a conversation with her than a lot of the feminists that I've taken the piss out of. And even then, taking the piss out of someone, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I'd expect people to take the piss out of me if I said stupid stuff, or the stuff that they thought was stupid. It's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? That's the way it goes. But yeah, I might send her a message actually and ask her if she'd like an informal conversation sometime. And yeah, I mean, it may be that. I mean, I can understand if she didn't want to do it at all, and I can understand if she didn't want to do it necessarily with two guys. Who are,
even if we got another feminist on board, that she might not necessarily get on with them just because she's a feminist. But who else could it be? Who else would? I'm thinking Claudia could actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but who could she partner up with? I mean, who?
Maybe she's brave enough and strong enough to take us herself.
Well, I think what I'd do in that situation then is act as a moderator. Instead, I wouldn't necessarily. You could ask questions and discuss with her, and if it was getting a bit heated or something, but otherwise I'd just, make sure it was not structured. But
I don't know about the commenters. The commenters could add a lot to it as well, though. They could
that's true.
put questions to her and stuff. But no, I would always be pleasant. I wouldn't get heated or shout at her or anything like that.
No,
call
I
her
know,
names.
I know.
I wouldn't do anything like that.
No, I know. I didn't mean it like that.
I would do that in my videos, but I wouldn't do that in a live chat with her.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that with Lacey Green. In a live chat, I'd have. I know I've yelled at Lacey Green in my videos, but that's because what she was saying really pissed me off. But I wouldn't yell at her. But that's the thing. If she wanted to come on, I would let you interview her, and then not that I think that anything get out of hand, but I think that I could be quite an impartial moderator.
To keep it fair, I know what you mean.
I think I could do that.
To make sure she has her say as well.
Yeah, exactly, and try and help her just articulate her points a bit more if she's feeling a bit overwhelmed or something like that. Because I do like to think that I'm good at empathizing with the other side. I really do put a lot of effort into trying to do that. So Rose Marlin, she's not that bad. She's if I've got to deal with a feminist, I'd rather deal with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of funny. She is kind of amusing, and she's got a very strange take on Game of Thrones. She thinks like Sansa Stark's a really great character, and Sansa Stark has done nothing. She's just kind of been this. She's literally like the object that feminists keep complaining about. She keeps getting passed around, and she's got no power. But the thing is, I mean, it's actually not all bad because she's starting to do something with her sexuality, and take control of the situation, which is, I mean, that's interesting. But the thing is, I think that she liked her. She was a big fan of her before this all happened, and it's just like that's the dullest character. I don't understand what she's getting out of that, and I'd be interested in asking. But I mean, if she did want another feminist, who could we ask? I mean, I don't think I'd want Lacey Green because I think, like you said, she's in it for the money.
She wouldn't get money out of it, so she wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know who Claudia would get on with. I don't know who she interacts with and stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd leave the offer to say, feel free to invite someone, whoever you want, because like you say, she's more likely to know. But I might send her a message and ask her and see how she feels about it.
No harm in asking.
Yeah, exactly. Although, to be honest, it feels weird sending like a 20-year-old girl a message out of the blue.
Well, she's a fucking adult, isn't she?
Yeah, I know.
You could just say we were talking about you in the latest hangout if you want to watch it, and we were interested to know if you want to join us. If she listens to it, she might think, okay, I'll join, or she might think, well, I'm not going anywhere near that, and then block you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, that's the thing. I like to think that my mind is open to be persuaded. Jeremy Morton, you can fuck off. We're not getting Anita on this. Even if she wanted to, I would say no.
She wouldn't. She doesn't even open comments, so she's not going to allow anybody to challenge her on anything.
That's the thing, though. Like with Claudia, I'd like her to try and persuade me so I can present my actual reasons and see what she thinks about the actual reasons without having them misrepresented to her. And I'm not saying that necessarily she's misrepresented them on purpose, but I think that the community that she's in is going to misrepresent it. So,
is she a blocker? Does she block? Do you know if she's
no, I don't think she does. I don't think she does. I think that's why I quite like her, actually, really. She seems to be very good at laughing these things off and taking them in her stride, which is it shows a lot of strength of character. So I would be interested in talking to her because of that. And there are very few feminists I can say that about.
Well, that's true. I can't even think of another one. I can't even think of another one.
Most of them are hypersensitive fucking babies, and so
they would end up running away and shouting and screaming and I'm not taking part. I'm not listening to you white privileged males.
Anna Kasparian would be an interesting one.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
Do you know something? No, what her problem is, right?
Go on.
I'm going to tell you what her problem is, right?
I'd love to hear.
Thunderfoot, right? I'm a big fan of Thunderfoot, right? But he made a video a while ago talking about her and how she's intelligent and all that, right? And it was a good video. I agreed with it. It was good. Ever since then, she's been extremely annoying. She let it go to her head. Yeah, she let that shit go to her head. And she's so annoying now.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because, like you said, I agree with Thunderfoot on pretty much most issues. I can't really think of any major issues I disagree with him with. And like you said, after he did that, she's been insufferable on the Young Turks.
Yes.
I watch them all the time, and she has been insufferable. It's just like, these... Yeah, I don't think I could do it with Anna Kasparian. I think it should piss me off, actually.
See, Tyler Wern saying Razorblade Candy. Now, Razorblade Candy and Bane 666, they use the computerized voices, right? And I was actually looking up ways in which we could do a hangout where we could include either writing on the screen, or something like that, but I can't find anything. I don't think there's any way for somebody without a voice to do a hangout. It doesn't seem like that's possible, which is kind of crap, because even if it was written down, one of us could read it out for everybody or something like that,
Yeah, it's a bit ableist, isn't it?
In a way it is. Google, shame on you, Google Plus.
Yeah, damn it, Google. I'm going to set
I
Tumblr
would
on.
definitely have Razorblade Candy or Bane 666 on. And I'm not.
Yeah,
they're not the same
absolutely.
person. It's just because they use the computerized voice. But if
Yeah.
there's a way to get round that, so that all we have to do is wait for them, to type in their words, and but it's just, is there a way around this that we can get them to be heard?
I would love to have either one on. I really like the videos, and again, I don't normally put up with the electronic voice, but I do for their videos because they're so well put together. I literally just finished watching Bane 666's
2-hour one.
Yeah, the 2-hour one. Yeah,
I've only watched half an hour of that. I've not watched the rest of it, but he's one of the few people who I would watch a 2-hour video of his.
Yeah,
so I'm still going to watch the rest of it.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, he's doing exactly how I would do. I agree with what he's saying in these situations. He's very reasonable. He's just arguing for the right thing. That's being just that he's not trying to take anything away from women. He's not even trying to take anything away from feminism. He's just saying, I just want men's issues to be considered important as well, and that's the sort of thing I can agree with. I don't think you have to be an MRA to agree with that.
I can't think I've ever disagreed with him. I don't think I've ever disagreed with anything he said, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I've been like, that's silly, Bane.
All things fishy says, how about Jacqueline Glynn? No thanks.
Who's
Jacqueline Glynn. She's so fucking annoying, man. She's an atheist, but she's also a feminist, She's so annoying, man.
Get Rebecca Watson on. Rebecca Watson and Jessica Valenti.
Jessica Valenti again. Another one that just says all the correct buzzwords to get paid.
They are. I fully agree. I definitely need to talk to people who genuinely believe what they're saying, rather than doing it for the money, rather than being a carbon copy. I imagine Jessica Valenti probably does believe what she's saying.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think she's so deeply mired in the poison Kool-Aid that she's. I know it's obviously her primary source of income, but she seems to be a tier above. She's leading the charge, I think. I think a lot of the stupid comes from people like her and the circles that she might move in. Maybe I'm not.
Shit, it was her that ran Feministing, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Feministing, that was her site, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's quite.
I don't think she believes all that. I think she's just using all that because she knows she can get a career out of it.
Yeah.
She's, as I say, she'll come out with a story, any story, and she just throws in the buzzwords, patriarchy, privilege.
That's true.
It's the same shit over and over, a different toilet.
Well, that's true, but I saw her advice video, and I did a response to it, 'cause it was all just. It was all obviously very feminist advice, without through and through, but it wasn't in the same sort of way that Lacey Green does it. It wasn't slick. It wasn't well produced. It wasn't designed for mass consumption. Really, it seemed very much to be for the feminists, the hardcore of the Tumblrites, and those on the gender studies degree courses, and it was helping them rationalize basically separating from their families, because their families were like, this feminism Tumblr shit is creepy and weird, stop it. And she was like, well, just don't talk to your family so much. It's like, that's horrible, And so it wasn't sensational. I think she genuinely thought she was giving good feminist advice. So I'm sure it is a source of income, but I also think that she probably is a believer, an actual believer. I don't think
it's hard to tell, though. It's hard.
It is, yeah.
If they believe it or not, because they're obviously the kind of same stuff. Alex George was saying Sue Park.
Oh, she
seems so even-handed and wise. See, I'd like to have a debate with her, but I've got white male privilege, so she won't listen to me.
Well, don't say that, because Dr. Randomcam's just exactly correct. She's got no proof that you're white. She doesn't know you're white.
Oh, aye, she doesn't know that. I could be a Nigerian woman for all she knows.
Exactly. There's no reason a Nigerian woman couldn't grow up in Scotland. Fucking Sui Park, honestly, I'd probably just be screaming into the microphone. Just fuck. Fucking Sui Park. But But yeah, I know.
I think she believes it. I think she believes her own shit. Straight
Yeah.
up. I think she believes it.
Really?
I think she believes all that shit she says. She's just a total overprivileged girl, basically, and she just believes all this crap she's heard. You know, she's not lived in the real world. She doesn't know that it's not all true.
Yeah. Jeremy Morton just mentioned Karen Strawn. I've noticed that she likes our videos and stuff, so I can.
Well, I would love to get her on, but I don't think she would.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I think we can ask. If she's watching our videos and liking them on Twitter and stuff, I think that we could ask.
It's because of how it's because of how busy she is. She gets a lot of this, you know, requests and stuff like this. And if we were to do it, it would just be for fun. It wouldn't be that serious, you know. We wouldn't expect her to come with a written speech or anything. But
what I'm thinking is that I think that we've got a lot of good questions. We could ask a lot of good questions that nobody asks her because they're not going to be looking for the funny answers. We can literally be like, "What's the most absurd thing a feminist has said to you?" You know, that sort of line of questioning, because she's had so much contact with, you know, the underbelly. Because I don't actually have much face-to-face or like peer-to-peer contact with them. Most of the time, I'm taking the piss. So, you know, she's like on the front lines in the trenches, isn't she? So she's bound to have some great stories, and it'd be nice to just hear her tell some. I think.
The thing about Karen as well is that I think a lot of people might try to use her for their own ratings. You know what I mean? Whereas we wouldn't be doing that. We would genuinely want to be talking to her, you know, for their own ratings, to get their own ratings up, and because she's quite popular. Whereas I think we'd have quite a good time talking to her. But who knows?
I reckon so. I definitely think that. I definitely think we'd have a good time, and she'd have a good time with us, because, you know, I've got a hell of a lot of respect for her. You know, I've listened to practically all of her body of work, and
me as well. I'd like to get her away from the serious side for a while.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, you know, I want to know some funny stories, because she's bound to have loads. She's bound to.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah. Who else? Who else could we? Because I would like to get some people on and like have guest segments and stuff. You know.
You should leave it up to the people. Who do the people want? The people have said anything. They've said Karen Strawn, chop suey pork and stuff like that.
Well, chop suey. Suey Park has blocked me on Twitter, so I can't even message Suey Park.
Oh shit! God's sake!
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know it's a bad word, but what a faggot! I mean, why do people do that? Do you know what I mean? Blocking people.
Oh,
It's my head in, man.
Keyboard warrior. Fucking childish.
I think she's actually fucked for a career though. The way Lacey Green and Anita and that, I don't think she'll get the career. She's fucked.
She hasn't got the
too
charisma.
Stupid. No, exactly. She doesn't have what it takes to, you know, to get people to watch her stuff. But she's just it's not gonna happen for her. Yeah,
she's just too damn unpopular and unlikable. You know, all she did was raise the ire of the sort of Tumblrite community, social justice warriors, and you know, they were called to arms and had to defend her because, oh my god, this poor woman being attacked by some guy who called her opinion stupid. Oh my god, quick, to arms. You know, social justice warriors. But yeah, okay, I'll definitely.
Thunderfoot says something fishy, and Scott Perrin says Stardust. But although a Thunderfoot again, he's another one that he's very popular, you know, and I wouldn't really want to get him on to be serious about anything, just to have a laugh, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is, I've seen like Thunderfoot on the Amazing Atheist one and stuff like that, and I think that they don't really give him enough flexibility to be. Oh, Victor Zen's a good one. I don't think they give him enough. Yeah, I like Victor Zen. Or Justica, to be honest. I'd be more than happy to get him on. That's the thing. I think in a lot of ways that these people, like, they're very used to making very serious points, and I'd be more than happy to let them just go free and take the piss and just have a laugh. You know?
Nothing too serious, you know. But Victor Zen, he's quite good, or young Einstein, as I call him. You need to look up a picture of young Einstein, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, he's like Justica. He makes fantastically crafted arguments, you know.
Yes.
And I really find his reaction videos very funny, response videos very funny.
I think he's the kind of guy that would do well with a hidden camera. See, if he had a hidden camera, he would get a lot of good footage. I think Victor's in. So if he's listening, please get a hidden camera.
Yeah,
You get a lot of good
definitely.
stuff.
I would be up for watching that. Internet Aristocrat would be awesome, but again, I think he's too big for us.
I think so. I don't think he'd. A couple of poppers like us, I don't think he'd waste any time, you know.
yeah, exactly. He seems like he's quite busy generally anyway. So
see the Internet Aristocrat, right? Is that his picture that he uses?
It can't be.
Because who is it then? Do you know who it is?
No idea.
Because I was thinking it's his picture, maybe with a fake wig on the picture or something. But I just don't know if that's him or if it's just somebody else.
I love how white oppressor it is. Everything about the Internet Aristocrat's persona is, the look of it is like, 18th century white oppressor, slave-owning white man. It's like, that's brilliant.
the enemy of Tumblr.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to send you back to the plantations, Tumblr. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll ask around. So in 2 weeks' time, if you want to do another one of these, we can get a guest on.
Aye, definitely, aye.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
We'll try and advertise it as soon as possible this time.
Yeah.
So we get more questions and stuff.
Yeah, because it was only the day before that I put that other video up, isn't it? Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. I'll ask around and let everyone know what I can get figured out, and I'll let you know on Facebook.
Top class.
Yeah, cracking. We should probably knock it on the head there because it's 11:30.
That's cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's cool. I think we've been here long enough. Sorry about all the technical problems, guys. I do apologise for it.
Well, I was thinking I'll download it and I'll edit out all the spaces and put it up on mine. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Just so that it's, if you want the version with all the spaces cut out and stuff, I'll do that later.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it in the section of this.
Alright, cool.
But at least we know now what the problem is, and so.
Yes, I know. I'm going to use this mic from now on. I'm not fucking. That headset's annoying. If anybody wants a free headset, you're fucking welcome to it. I've no other use for it.
Well, the one you're using there, I think's fine.
That guy T. Do you think that guy T would do it? I don't know why he wouldn't, but I don't know why. I'd love him to do that. That'd be excellent. Of course, Sparky as well.
Yeah,
Sparky back on. Maybe we'd be better working to Sparky's time, though. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing on Sparky's time.
No, it wouldn't bother me. That'd be good.
Yeah, on the weekend I could stay up to whatever. So yeah, I'd be happy to have that guy too. I'd like to have. I wouldn't mind having Josh O'Brien on either. He seems like a funny kid.
He was good. I've done that one with him and Chazwald. He's good. Josh is good.
Yeah, I'd have Chaz on as well.
I like Josh has got an opinion on everything.
Yeah.
I like people who have an opinion on everything.
I liked him and Chaz disagreeing over UKIP.
I just sat out. I just sat quiet for about half an hour and let them get on with it. As this has nothing to do with me, man.
I know. It's like, Chris, I haven't heard any Scottish for a while. But yeah, it was good. It was good listening to them explain their points. And the thing is, I don't think there's necessarily any kind of reconciling that, both those positions either.
No, but it was a good way for them to have a debate, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the Google Hangout, because there was no animosity or anything. It was quite good. It went quite well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting Mundane Matt on.
I like Mundane Matt. He's good. He's good.
Yeah, I do listen to a lot of his videos. I don't always agree. I mean, he's a lot more sort of. I do like the fact that he's very, very concerned about both sides of the argument. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But he's willing to kind of not pander, but accept the Tumblrites sort of bullshit, like trigger warnings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And and I just don't give them an inch, because they'll take a mile. Fuck trigger warnings. That's how I feel about it. But I mean, he's doing it because it's wise, and he wants to. I think that he genuinely wants to kind of actually get them to listen. Which is why he kind of uses their language and then tries to frame a fairly reasonable point, I think. Maybe that's just me thinking that. I don't know. But a good fella, Sale Polani hang out. Hasn't she disappeared?
I don't know what's happened to her. Maybe her mice are better.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess they must have done. Someone said that, I remember a while ago, someone said that she'd disabled all her videos or something. I don't know whether that's true or not, but
I honestly
yeah.
don't know anything about it at all. I haven't seen her for a while, you know, but
Yeah, that's the thing. I would have expected like one of her videos to have surfaced as being like someone was like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, listen to this bullshit or something like that. But yeah, okay. I'll contact some people and I will let everyone know. How's
okay
that?
then. You want me to speak us out?
I'd love it. Thank you very much.
Okay then, well, there's 83 people watching, and thank you to all the people who have been watching, and all the future people who will listen to us. And we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time.